Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, perfect. Let me go to my main camera. There we go. Alright, we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title and thumbnail, today I'm going to be working on, I forgot, constructor overloading. That said, last stream I did work over, I forgot what I worked over last stream. Honestly, I think I worked over the this pointer. The stream before that, I worked over getters and setters, and okay, with that said, let me just reduce the volume. And guys, if I can't talk right now, it's because I'm not warmed up. That said, let's go to my gameplay screen, and then get GPT here. Okay, and guys, this is This is the conversation from I am going to be using my chat from yesterday because I didn't have time to set a new chat, and I don't know why is everything lagging a little. Okay, that said, let me just shrink this a little from here. There we go. Yeah, I hope that should fix it. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, I think that should fix the lag. Okay, guys, I'm lagging way more than usual. That said, let me say something let's say I'm live! Exclamation. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, I think that lag's much better now. Okay, people, listen closely. Every line of code you write is a step towards immortality. Each function, each class, each bracket is a piece of your legacy. You're not just learning C++, you're bending logic to your will, forging a new language of power from pure willpower. The code you write today becomes the weapon you wield tomorrow. Said by Sarah. Let's say, guys, don't go over the author's name because I'm not sure. I need to fact check that. That's it. Now breathe. Let's begin. Today's weapon of mastery is constructor overloading. You already know what a constructor is. It initializes an object when it's created, but what if you want different ways to create the same object? Maybe sometimes you want maybe sometimes you know all the data and sometimes only part of it. That's where constructor overloading comes in. Constructor overloading means you can have multiple constructors in the same class, each with different parameter lists. Oh, I see. Okay, C++ chooses which of these. Okay, C++ chooses which one to call based on the arguments you give when creating the object. Okay, I think I see. Okay, so we include IOStream, we create a night class, we have 3 private data members, actually 2 private data members, and then we publicize everything. This is going to be a night, name unnamed, health 100, and the second constructor has a parameter of n to it. Okay. Oh, okay, I think I see. Void display, and then we have a display method and then a main method. Okay, we go ahead and create an object called K1, also known as Night1, and then another object called K2 with the name of Arthur called Constructor2, since Constructor2 just had one parameter of name. Okay, Night3, are these different objects? Okay, yeah, there are 3 different objects, there we go. Okay, this is Night3. Night3 has 2 parameters, name and health, that is Constructor3. Oh, I see. Okay, see that each night object is built differently, same class, multiple creation paths. That's constructor overloading. It gives your class flexibility and control over initialization. Now people, before I unleash the first question, do you want me to go over how C++ decides which constructor to call next, or shall we jump straight into instructional based questions? Okay, how C++ decides which constructor to call next. Honestly, let me say something let's say, can you explain that to me before we move into instructional based questions? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Okay, ChatGPT. Good, you chose wisdom before warfare. It should be pupil. Now listen close. Now listen carefully. When you create an object in C++, the compiler looks at the arguments you provide and matches them to the constructor signature that fits best. Okay, this process is called constructor overload resolution. The compiler's way of deciding which constructor to call when there are multiple. Okay, when there are multiple. Let's break it down step by step. Imagine you have these constructors, no parameters, 1 parameter, 1 string plus 1 integer parameter. Now let's look at some examples of how the compiler thinks. Night1, no arguments. Oh, I see. Okay, so basically they pick on how many basically chooses how many which constructor to use based on the parameters. If there are 2 parameters, it's going to go to the constructor with those 2 parameters. Okay, I think I see. Okay, now that you understand compiler, shall we forge into the instructional based questions? Okay, let me say something like just let's say, and guys, if I can't read properly, yeah, that is because I'm not warmed up. It takes me a while to read properly. Okay, excellent. That's the energy I expect from a warrior of code. Now prepare yourself. This question will test your understanding of constructor overloading, not just your ability to copy examples. Focus your mind, keep your syntaxes sharp, and listen closely. Instructional based question. Okay, you are to create a class called wizard, so we got to create a wizard class that uses constructor overloading to allow different ways of creating a wizard object. Here's what I want you to do. The class should have three private variables: standard string of name, okay, integer of mana, and integer of spell power. Write three constructors. Constructor 1 takes no parameters and sets default values, unknown 110, okay. Constructor 2 takes only the name and sets mana equal to 120, okay. Constructor 3 takes all three values, name, mana, and spell power from the user. And then I gotta create a method called display that prints all three stats. In your main function, create three wizard objects using all three constructors, then display each one's stats. Okay, honestly I see. So let's get sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, that said, this is the code from last stream, guys. I didn't have time to code off stream, whichever. Okay, that said, let me Control A and delete everything. And let's start off by including IO stream. Before that, let me get the instructions here. There we go. Okay, so let me go ahead and start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Next up, let's read the instructions. It says create a class called wizard. So let's go ahead and create a wizard class. And guys, is the stream lagging? Yeah, I think it's not. I think we're good. There we go. Is it my VS code? I'll go with the Control C. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to be creating a wizard class. There we go. And then add a pair of curly braces. Now, inside of my wizard class, let's see. Okay, inside of my wizard class, the class should have three private variables. So I gotta have three private data members. So let's go ahead and private everything. There we go. So I'll go with private. Then maybe indenture. Okay, so I'll need a standard string of name data member, a integer of mana data member, and an integer of spell data member. So let's go ahead and create a standard string of name data member ending with a semicolon, and then a integer of mana data member and a integer of spell power. Is it called spell power? Okay, spell power data member ending with a semicolon. Next up, write three constructors. So let's go ahead and create a constructor. Although before I do create a constructor, I am going to like publicize my class from here on out. There we go. Okay, maybe remove that space. There we go. Okay, inside of my constructor, maybe I had a comment that says constructor. There we go. Okay, so this is constructor, and then so constructor 1 takes no parameters and sets values to unknown 110. So let's go ahead and create a constructor. So this is going to be a wizard. So let me go ahead and add a wizard constructor, a pair of parentheses, and fill in a few parameters. So the parameter for my standard string of name is going to be equal to, let's say something like, I don't know, maybe Sarah. Okay, and then a constructor for my integer. Okay, integer of mana is going to be equal to something like 100. Okay, so name is going to be unknown. Okay, wait, never mind, guys. Let me change that to unknown. There we go. And lastly, my spell power is going to be 10. So I'll go with integer of spell power. Let me just zoom out so you guys can see. Or maybe, can you guys see if I do this? Okay, I think you guys can. There we go. Okay, spell power is going to be set to 10. Okay, if you guys could see it, it's like all here. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Alright, next up, inside of my pair of curly braces, I gotta create another constructor. Let's see what to do. Guys, honestly, give me a sec real quick. Okay, I'm getting a call, guys, from my mom. Give me a sec, I'll mute myself real quick. Honestly, never mind, the call did get cut. Okay, that's it. Let's see. Let's read the instructions again. Okay, so for the constructor 2 takes only the name and sets mana to 120, spell power equals to 15, takes only the name parameters. So this is my constructor 1. Let's go ahead and initialize the stuff. So let's say my name data member equals to my... Okay, honestly, I'm going to use this pointer. So I'll go with something like this. Okay, and then with a arrow mark operator, is that what it's called? Okay, this name equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon. Howdy, Jaspreet, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, next up, let's go with something like this, I don't know, maybe mana equals to my mana parameter, and lastly, I'll go with something like this, the spell power equals to my spell power data member. Okay, ending with a semicolon as well. Alright, next up, this is going to be my constructor 1. I'll go ahead and create another constructor. Let me go ahead and add a comment that says something like 1. Honestly, I don't think the comment is like necessary. Okay, I'll go ahead and create another constructor. So I'll go with my wizard class, add a pair of parentheses. Now for my second constructor, it says takes only the name, okay, and sets mana to 120 and spell power to 15. So I gotta only take my name as a parameter. So I'll go with something like a standard string of name, then add a comma. Okay, then integer of mana is going to be equal to 120 and spell power is going to be equal to 15. I'll go with something like integer of spell power, which is going to be equal to 15. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses and then initialize my variables or my parameters. So I'll go with something like this name equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon. Then something like this mana equals to my mana parameter ending with a semicolon, and something like this okay, my spell power data member equals to my spell power parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Yo, how are you doing? I appreciate you joining the stream. What's up, baby? Okay, let's see. Next up, for my constructor 3, I take all 3 values, name, mana, and spell power from the users. So let's go ahead and create another constructor. I'll go with something like my wizard. Okay, there we go. Add a pair of parentheses, and then let's go ahead and add a few parameters. So firstly, I'll need a parameter of standard string, which is going to be name, integer of mana, and lastly a integer of spell power. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. There we go. Okay, then inside of my pair of curly braces, let's initialize these parameters. So I'll go with something like this data member of name is going to be equal to my name parameter ending with a semicolon, and then something like this data member of mana equals to my mana parameter ending with a semicolon, and lastly I'll go with this spell power. Okay, the spell power data member equals to my spell power parameter ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, that's pretty much it for these constructors, and then I gotta create a method called display that prints all 3 stats. Do you know some design patterns? Honestly, I've never worked on the design patterns, but it does sound pretty cool. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a void function called display. Okay, there we go. I'll add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Inside of my display function, actually inside of my display method, I print all 3 stats. So I don't know, maybe I could go with all 3 stats. So let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like name with another insertion operator of my let's say of my this data member. Honestly, instead of going with this data member, I could just go with my name. There we go. With another insertion operator of /new line ending with a semicolon. And then I'll add another standard console output with an insertion operator. Guys, let me restart my OBS. It is lagging a little. Already mic testing, mic testing. You guys, I had to restart my OBS. That's it. I think this fixed the lag. What actually are you programming? Honestly, I'm working on constructor overloading this stream. That said, I did work over the this pointers last stream. These are all different parts inside the object-oriented programming section in C++. That said, I discovered about them recently. Oh, that actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, next up, I'll go with something like mana with another insertion operator. This is going to be my mana data member with a /new line ending with a semicolon. Hey, are you learned about standard console input? Honestly, I did learn about standard console input. We use it to get a input from our user. I will be using it in this instruction based question. Okay, that said, next up I'll go with something like spell power. Okay, with another insertion operator. This is gonna be my spell power data member. Okay, with a /new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, and that's pretty much it for my wizard class. So I'll end my class with a semicolon as well. And next up, let's go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Inside of my main function, I gotta create 3 wizard objects using all 3 constructors. Although before I do create my objects, let's go ahead and create a few variables for my parameters. The first variable is going to be of standard string. This is going to be name ending with a semicolon. The second and third variables are going to be integers. The first is banana, second is spell powered. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something. Let's say something like enter a name for your, I don't know, okay, enter a name for your wizard, or enter a name for a wizard. There we go, that actually sounds much better. Let me just fix my typo. There we go. Okay, and then I'll end that with a semicolon. That said, I'm going to go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my name variable ending with a semicolon. Can you solve a Brilea transcription problem in SPOJ, bro? Honestly, I've never heard of that, but that sounds pretty fun actually. You made a mistake in the last spell power. Spell powered. Did I? I think I spelled them correct. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and add another standard console output with an insertion operator. I want to insert something like enter a mana for your wizard. Ending with a semicolon as well. And let me change this A to your. There we go. Okay, next up, let's go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my mana's variable. Lastly, let's go with another standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a spell power for your wizard. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my spell power variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, that's pretty much it. And then I gotta create 3 wizard objects using these 3 constructors. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a wizard object. So my object is gonna be from my wizard class. So I'm gonna go ahead and call my wizard class and create a wizard object that's going to be wizard1 with a pair of parentheses. So that is going to be my constructor1. Maybe add a comment that says, there we go, that says constructor1. And then I'm going to go ahead and create a display. Honestly, instead of going with display, I could create all my 3 objects first. There we go. Okay, so my object2 is going to be from my wizard class as well. This is going to be wizard2. It's lowercase. Add a pair of parentheses, and let's see my wizard2. What all parameters does it take? It just takes a name parameter. So my parameter is going to be my name variable right there. Honestly, can't I add a name variable? Okay, so it does take a standard string of name. Okay, let's see. So that is a standard string name. So I should honestly be able to add a name. Call it a name parameter here ending with a semicolon. Okay. Why not using namespace std? Honestly, the reason I don't use using namespace std is because many of you guys did say me that in bigger projects, eventually not using standard console output can cause name conflicts, because other libraries might have the same name as okay, the same names as without using namespace. For example, some libraries might have console output or console input, so prefixing it with std keeps it a little clear. Okay, so this name equals to name. I did public everything from here, so I should be able to have access to the names. Okay, name is unknown, man. Okay, so integer. Honestly, I feel like I did everything correct here. That is a standard string of name. I extracted the values as well. This is a different constructor. Okay, honestly, let me just go ahead and copy that and paste it again. Guys, give me a sec. Let me restart my stream. I think it's lagging. Already mic testing. Okay, I think that should fix the lag. Okay, that said, actually, did I spell something wrong? That's my wizard class. Why do you have so many similar constructors? Why not use default paradigms? honestly, the reason I have like different constructors, because that's the whatchamacallit, the topic for this stream. Like, I'm trying to master constructor overloading. Okay, that said, this should be standard string. I should like be able to take a parameter of name here. Huh. Okay, honestly, let's go with something like a control C, copy that, get /ChatGPT here. Okay, and then go ahead and paste this, go with shift enter and say something like, let's say, I'm honestly not done yet, ... That said, I feel like I messed up somewhere because my last line, my second object's parameter shows a, let's see, okay, my second object's parameter shows a red underline. Okay, honestly, why does it show like a red underline? Let's see. Okay, people, stop. You're about to fall into one of the oldest, most dangerous traps in C++ history. You've accidentally invoked the most infamous C++ pitfall of all time, the most vexing phrase, or parase, is that how we call it? Let's dissect this with surgical precision. The mistake you wrote wizard1, this looks harmless, right? Okay, you might think you're calling the default constructor, but C++ thinks, this looks like a function declaration, okay, that returns a wizard. In other words, C++ interprets that line as wizard1 is a function, takes no arguments, and has a return, and returns a wizard. That's not an object, the fix. Oh, okay, so for a constructor that doesn't require parameters, I don't need to invoke the, okay. That probably calls the default constructor. Next problem, you also overloaded 3 constructors with default parameters, which makes C++ very confused. Right now, you've made this impossible for the compiler to tell constructor to be used. All of them can technically match many of the same calls, so the compiler panics. Ambiguity, too many options. The proper way. Okay, so we have a wizard, name unknown. Okay, wizard2 takes a parameter. Okay, I think I see. Okay, and then wizard1, wizard2. Now the compiler will always know which constructor to call. The hierarchy is clear, the chaos is gone. Try rewriting your class this way, people. Let's see if you can make your constructors work without confusing the compiler's tiny metallic brain. Okay, let's get /ChatGPT here. Okay, honestly, I think I see. So when we don't need to add a parameter, we don't gotta invoke this. Hey man, how you doing, Bhanu? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, that is a wizard1 object. For my wizard2, I'm gonna go all the way up here. Okay, my wizard1 honestly has all whatchamacallit. Okay, it doesn't need any kind of parameters here, so I'm gonna delete that. Okay, that is gonna be constructor1. And then this name equals to, let's go with something like unknown. Let me just copy that, delete that, add a pair of double quotes, and change this to unknown. Okay, this too, how much mana did I need? I think I needed something like 100 mana and like 10 spell power. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and remove all this and just leave my name here. There we go. And this is gonna be my constructor too. Maybe add a comment that says something like constructor. There we go, constructor2. Okay, for my constructor2, my name is a parameter. My mana is going to be 150 and my spell power will be 15, ending with a semicolon. There we go, 15. Okay, and lastly, for my constructor3, let's go ahead and copy constructor2. Paste it here. Change 2 to 3. There we go. My constructor3 takes all parameters from the user and then inside of my main function. Okay, there we go. That makes more sense now. Okay, so I have wizard1, that's constructor1, that's constructor2. Okay, and now let's go ahead and create a third object. So I'll go with something like wizard. My wizard class is wizard3. Okay, I'll add a pair of parentheses and fill in all my parameters. So I'll need a name parameter, and then I might need a mana parameter and a spell power parameter. Okay, ending with a semicolon, and that will be my constructor3. So let's go ahead and delete the extra spaces, change 2 to 3. Okay, perfect. Let's read the next instruction. So let me scroll all the way up. Okay, there we go. Okay, then create 3 wizard objects using the constructors, then display each one's stats clearly. Okay, so let's go with something like my wizard1 object dot the display function, and a lot of curly braces to invoke the functions ending with a semicolon. Next up, I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up I'll go with something like my visit2 object dot the display function, a lot of parentheses to invoke the function, and then add another standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, did I spell display correct? I spelled it wrong. There we go. Okay, and lastly, let's go with my third object. So I'll go with something like visit3 dot the display function. I'll add a pair of parentheses to invoke the functions ending with a semicolon. There we go. And then I don't think I need to add another standard console output. I could just return 0 ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, now, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, let's see. Huh. Okay, it says enter a name for your wizard. I'll go with something like Sarah. Enter a mana for your wizard. I'll go with something like, I don't know, maybe 1/5. Actually, let's go with something like 200. Enter a attack power for your wizard. I'll go with 30. Okay, so for my first wizard, it says name unknown, mana 100, spell power 10. For my second constructor, it says name Sarah, mana 150, spell power 15. Thirdly, okay, perfect. And honestly, I did have like a small typo here. Okay, when I display this, let me go ahead and delete that. There we go. Maybe capitalize this. Okay, perfect. And also, before my display 1, like before I do display 1, I'm going to be adding a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Alright, perfect. Let me go with the Control-A, Control-C, copy that, get sensei/ChatGPT here, and paste it. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, perfect execution, people. You obliterated the ambiguity, built a crystal clear overload hierarchy, and structured your constructors exactly as a seasoned C++ warrior should. Every single object now knows which constructor forged it. The compiler bows to your clarity. Here's what's happening behind the scenes. Just to engrave it into your brains like a rune master. Is it called a rune or like a one master? Okay, a rune of mastery. Wizard1, so our wizard1 object, no arguments. In C++ instantly chooses constructor 1, results unknown 100, spell power 10. Wizard2, one string argument, constructor 2. Guys, let me just restart my stream. I think it's lagging a bit. Already mic testing. Okay, perfect, guys. I think that I just opened like 300 OBS studios. Honestly, I think this is gonna lag even more. Let me just restart my whole PC. Give me a sec, guys. It's gonna take me about 5 minutes. Already mic testing. Okay, perfect. Guys, wait, what's up with my visual code? I mean, my VS code. Maybe I go with the new file. Is it how we do it? Guys, is it just me or is it lagging? Why is it lag? This stream is lagging. Honestly, yeah, the reason it is lagging is because my mini PC cat actually let me just remove this. There we go. I feel like OBS is like it's just disconnected. Okay, let me restart. Already mic testing. Okay, perfect, guys. I think that should fix the lag. Okay, the reason it is laggy is because I think my mini PC can't actually handle this much this much multitasking. That's it. I am actually planning to get an actual PC, and I am really close to getting it. So once I do get that actual PC, I will be that is gonna be fixing all my lag. So I could be starting. I would start multi-streaming as well. That said, let's read the whole thing. Okay, here's what's happening behind the scenes. Just to engrave it in your brains like this, a run of mastery. Okay, no confusion, no overlapping default, just clean, predictable behavior. Your code is flawless, and more important, you now understand why it's flawless. That's the mark of a programmer who's rising fast. Discipline makes the difference between a novice and a master. Sensei Sarah. Okay, now, would you like the next instruction-based question on constructor overloading to invoke user choices when the user picks which type of object to create, or shall I raise the stakes with a smaller battle simulation that uses overloaded constructors? Okay, let me honestly say something like, let's say, can we do a few more questions at this level before moving on, question mark? Okay, because guys, I do need enough practice. That's it. Give me a sec, guys. Okay, let me just do something real quick. Okay, there we go, guys. I was just getting a call, was just saying that I'm streaming right now. Okay, that said, let's see. Good, you're learning to demand more work instead of running from it. That's how you turn knowledge into muscle. Pupil, fine, we'll stay at this level a little longer. Here's your next instructional question. Question number 5. Create a class called robot that has a private string attribute called name, a private integer attribute called power level, a public method called a public void method called charge with a parameter of amount which is going to be an integer that increases the robot's power level but not beyond 100. A public method called void display that prints the robot's name and power level. A constructor that takes both name and power level as an argument. Then in the main function, create a robot called bolt with a power level of 85. Charge it by 30 and display its status. Okay, if you make a mistake, I'll make you write it twice. Now go write the code. Okay, perfect. Let's go to sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, that said, let me go with the control A, delete everything, and then let's go to instructions here. And let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and include IO stream. And guys, is the stream lagging? There we go. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and create a class called robot. So I'll go with something like a class. Hold up, give me a sec, guys. Okay, there we go. Let me just check if the stream's going good here. Okay, perfect. Let's see. So it says create a class called robots, and then the robot must have a integer attribute called power level. So there we go. I gotta create a robot class. Okay, and then a pair of parentheses inside my class. Let's see. What's with the accent? Honestly, guys, I do get that a lot. You guys are like, whatchamacallit, fake my accent, but I'm like, it's impossible to fake accent when we talk for hours. That's it, guys. There are like so many distractions right now. Oh my gosh, like, what's wrong with my stream? There we go. Okay, hold up. Let me get that chair. Okay, perfect. Let's see. Okay, so now I gotta create a private string called so. Okay. Hey, guys, let's not spam. Okay, let's just there we go. I did put you in a timeout for a minute for like spamming, so like guys, let's not spam. Okay, that said, so create a private string called name. So I'm going to be adding a private. There we go. Okay, and then for my string, I'm going to go ahead and create a standard string of name. Okay, this is going to be a name, name data member, and then I got to create one for integer called power level. So let's go ahead and create one for integer as well. Okay, so I'll go with something like integer of power level, ending with a semicolon as well, and then let's go ahead and publicize everything else. So I'll go with something like public. Okay, for public, I'm going to be creating a method called void charge that has a parameter of amount, which is going to be an integer. So let's go ahead and create a void method called charge. Okay, that has a parameter of amount. And then I'll go ahead and add a pair of curly braces. Honestly, shouldn't I be adding a constructor first? What is this stream? Honestly, I am working on learning about I forgot what was I learning about constructor overloading this stream. That's it. Last stream I did work on the this pointer. Okay, that's it. It's all a part of my object-oriented programming area in my C++, if that made any sense, guys. Okay, following you here in Africa. That honestly sounds pretty cool. Okay, let's see. A public method called void that increases the robot's power level but not beyond 100. A constructor that takes both the name and power level as arguments. So honestly, I do think I gotta create the constructor first though. Although let's see if I could create a method before constructors. Okay, let's see. So my charge method, I increase the robot's power level by my amount. So I'll go with my power level data member. Let's go ahead and increase that by my amount parameter ending with a semicolon. What's your age? Honestly, I am 17 years old. That's it. I'm going to be turning 18 real soon. Kind of excited for that. Okay, but not beyond, whatchamacallit, 100. Okay, let's go and add something like this. If a pair of parentheses, if my power level data member is greater than 100, I'm going to do something. I'll add a pair of parentheses and set my power level to be equal to 100, ending with a semicolon that limits my power level data member to go beyond 100. That said, I gotta create another method called display status that prints the robot's name and power level. So let's go ahead and create another void method called display status. There we go. With a pair of parentheses, my display status won't have any parameters, although I will go with a pair of curly braces. Instead of std, why aren't you using namespace std? Honestly, the reason I don't use using namespace std is because many of you guys did recommend me that, but some of you guys did say that in bigger projects, not prefixing with standard can cause name conflicts. Does that make any sense? Why are you talking like a gay guys? I get that so much every stream. That's it. I'm like, I don't know what you guys mean. I'm actually straight. Okay, integer get power level, return this point power level. Honestly? Okay, let's see. So that prints the robot's name and power level. So I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, this is going to be something like name. Okay, with another insertion operator of my name data member, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then let's go with another standard console output, this time for my power level. So I'll go with something like power level. Okay, with another insertion operator of my power level data member with a / new line ending with a semicolon as well. That's it. I think that's pretty much it for my void method or my display status method. Okay, lastly, let's go ahead and create, let's see. Okay, so now I'm going to be creating a constructor. So let's go with something like constructor. There we go. Okay, for my constructor, I'm going to be creating constructor for my robot class. So I'll go with something like robot, add a pair of parentheses, and fill in a few parameters. The first parameter would be standard string of name, and the second would be an integer of power level. Okay, perfect. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Then inside of my, constructor, let's go ahead and initialize my parameters. So I'll go with something like this, let's say this name data member equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon, and then let's go with something like this power level data member equals to my power level parameter as well ending with a semicolon. Okay, howdy Afif, I appreciate you joining this stream. What are you doing here? Honestly, I'm learning about constructor overloading in C++. That's it. This is like a topic inside my object-oriented programming. Okay, power level went off. Okay, let's see. Next up, after my constructor, that's honestly pretty much it for my class. So let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon, and then go ahead and create a integer for my main method. So I'll go with integer main, a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Inside of my main method, it says create a robot called Bolt with a power level of 85, charge it by 30, and display its status. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a object for my robot class. So I'll go ahead and invoke my robots, and then create something like a robot1 object with a pair of parentheses, and then fill in a parameter of name and power level. My robot is going to be called Bolt. The power level is going to be 85. There we go. And then I'm going to end that with a semicolon. Okay, definitely need some getters and setters as well. Honestly, actually, next instruction-based question, I might use getters and setters too. Okay, howdy Andrea, appreciate you joining this stream. For someone from Africa watching, bro, gets France. Can you explain why it's integer main? Honestly, the reason it is integer main is because I do return 0. The only time we don't return anything if the function is void, like I did create 2 void functions here. For example, a void charge method here. The reason it is void is because I didn't return anything. In the other hand, if this was integer, I would have to like return something, or like it would give me an error or something like that. Okay, you guys could like fact check me, but I think that's what it does. I don't think you're done. How would you access your private data in the event it needs to be changed? Honestly, I access it by adding the variables here. So I gotta create a few variables. Let's go with something like a variable of standard string of name. Do you also do other lives in different programming languages like Python? Honestly, I did have like a series where I learned Python for 100 days. I did stream myself, and I do have like a separate playlist for my Python for 100 days series. that did end like 32 days ago. Okay, let's go with something like power level ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and add a standard console output. Honestly, I actually might not need those variables because I'm not like asking my user. I've like preset their name and power levels. Okay, so after creating, I gotta charge it by 30 and then display my status. So let's go ahead and charge my Boba1. Okay, I'll go with the charge method. I want to charge it by 30. Okay, and then I will end it with a semicolon, and then I gotta display its stats. So let's go with something like Boba1 dot display stats, add a pair of parentheses, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0. Okay, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, okay, let's see. So name is Bolt, power level is 100. Name Bolt, power level 100. Okay, perfect. Okay, I think that's pretty good. Let's go with the Control A, Control C. Copy that. Are you streams daily? Honestly, I do stream every single day. Why don't you just use using namespace for repeating keywords? Honestly, because like I did hear like it is a bad practice to use that for like whatchamacallit, for using that for like standard. Okay, that said, because it could cause like name conflicts. Okay, next up. Yes, that's how it's done, people. Your code is clean, your logic is precise, and you even use this properly. That's the sign of a warrior who understands objects, not just uses them. The charge function correctly guards against exceeding 100, and the constructor initializes perfectly. Not a single line out of place. If this were a battle, your robot would have fried the enemy circuits before they even loaded their compilers. Perfect execution. You've officially mastered constructors and basic class methods. Excuse me guys, and basic class methods at this level. But tell me people, do you want me to push the difficulty next, introducing constructors and multiple objects interacting, or do you want more, do you want a couple more at this level to sharpen your claws even further? Okay, let me say something like, let's say this question didn't have, let's see, didn't have constructor overloading. There we go, constructor overloading, dot dot dot. Okay, although, can I get a question that includes getters, setters, constructor overloading? What else, guys? Let's see. Honestly, what else should I go over? So I meant about getters and setters, constructor overloading, this pointer, and the basics that we went over. Okay, let's see. You would do it in the class for access data. Also, would highly advise making your getter and setter projected, as any children classes would automatically inherit those getters and setters. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. That's it. I didn't start inheritance yet in object-oriented programming, although I will like start that pretty soon. Okay, that said, so you want blood, people. Good. That's the spirit of a programmer who doesn't fear the fire. Very well. This next one will test everything you've learned so far. Getter, setter, this pointers, and constructor overloading. You'll need to think like a machine, but okay, feel like a human programmer. Here's the challenge. The task for creation, the battle robot. You must design a class called battle robot. It must have 3 private data members called standard string, which is name, integer of health, and integer of power. And then I gotta create constructors. A default constructor that sets name to be unknown, health to be 100, power to be 50. An overloaded constructor that takes both name and power as a parameter, okay, as arguments. Okay, actually that takes name and power as arguments and sets health to 100 automatically. Getters and setters for all 3 attributes. A method named attack that prints robot name attacks with power, okay. Inside our constructors, use this pointer when assigning values. Then in our main function, create 2 battle robots, one using the default constructor and one using the overloaded one. Display their info using getters. Make both robots attack. People, this will look similar until you realize how every concept connects. Write it carefully. If you make a mistake, I'll catch it like a hawk. Okay, I'll catch it like a hawk spots a mouse in the snow. Okay, let's get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. Guys, honestly, I feel like I can't read properly today for some reason. That's I'll go with a Control A and delete everything. Next up, let's get Sensei there. Okay, get the instructions up here. Okay, let's go ahead and start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. And then next up, let's see. I got to create a class called Battle Robots. What life projects have you created that are out there on GitHub? Honestly, I didn't learn how to use GitHub. That's it. I didn't like stream myself creating multiple projects. If you guys do like check on YouTube, like from my channel, like the Python for 100 series, day 100, I didn't write a code using Python and like make a game which was 450 lines. It is in my shorts as well. Okay, that's it. Okay, let's see something like, let's go ahead and create a class called Battle Robots. I'll go with Battle Robots. Add a pair of curly braces and then maybe drink some water. Guys, honestly, I think I can't read properly because I am dehydrated. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and add a private. Let's create a few private data members. So I'll go with private. Okay, the first data member is going to be standard string of name ending with a semicolon. The second data member will be of health, and the third data member is going to be an integer as well. So I'm not like create a new line for it. That's it. That is going to be power. And then I got to create a constructor. So let's go ahead and add a comment that says constructor. There we go. For my constructor, I'm going to publicize everything. So let me go ahead and add a public here. There we go. Maybe add a space. Okay, perfect. Next up, for my constructor, I got to create a constructor. Okay, a default constructor that sets name to be unnamed, health to be 100, and power to be 50. So let's go ahead and create a default constructor. For my battle robot class, I'll add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. This is going to be my default constructor. So I'll go with something like, let's say this. Okay, let's say this name equals to, let's go with something like unknown ending with a semicolon, and then something like this health equals to 100 ending with a semicolon as well. And lastly, let's go with this power data member, which is going to be equal to 50 ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, next up, I gotta create an overloaded constructor that takes both name and power as arguments and sets health to be 100 automatically. Okay, so this is my default constructor. Let's go ahead and create another constructor of battle robots. Okay, that takes both parameters, that takes both name and power as arguments. So let's go ahead and create a standard string of name, okay, and a integer of power. Ending with, actually, after the integer of power, I will go with a pair of curly braces. Hey, one suggestion from me, after you're done learning the basics programming, you can start off with easy lead code style questions. Honestly, I was pretty excited to start lead code. That's it. That was like a pretty good content for like a separate series. So I might create a series where I just grind lead code. You should try streaming a complete project with different technologies. Extreme programming has its own weakness. There's a discipline that comes with working on a full project integration. It's a request. Honestly, eventually I do want to start making projects and all that. Okay, that's it. Next up, for my second argument, I take two parameters of name and power. Let's go ahead and initialize them. I'll go with something like this name equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon, and something like this power equals to my power parameter ending with a semicolon, and lastly I'll go with something like this health data member equals to 100, okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, let me change this to power. I agree with talent. Projects are the way out of tutorial hell. Honestly, I don't actually watch tutorials. That's it. I do use ChatGPT/Sensei for mostly learning. The only time I do use tutorial is for for like installing a compiler and everything. For example, when I installed VS Code, I did use a tutorial. That's it. You guys did help me a lot while doing that. Okay, next up, getters and setters for all three attributes. So I gotta create a getter and a setter for all three attributes. Okay, so let's go ahead and add another comment that says something like setters. These are going to be my setters. Okay, at a certain point though, it comes back to tutorial hell. Oh, I see. Okay, for my setters, I gotta create one for my name. So I'll go with something like a void set name. Okay, I'll go with a void set name method, add a pair of parentheses. Excuse me, guys. And then a pair of curly braces. Inside of my setter, I honestly would need a parameter of name. Okay, and then let's go with something like, let's see. Okay, honestly, wouldn't I not need any parameters? I could go with name equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon. That's my name data member. Okay, let's change this to enemy. Honestly, can I use this inside of my set name as well? Okay, let's think why can't I use it? Because I did work with setters like 2 streams ago. Next with installing and configuring NeoWeb. Honestly, I've never heard of that. Tutorial help isn't bad as long as use tutorials for doing something instead of just doing more tutorials without using them. That actually makes sense. Howdy Faisal, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, let's see. Okay, where am I messing up for my setter? Honestly, oh, okay, wait, this should be a standard string. There we go. Honestly, let's go with void and change this to be a standard string of name. Okay, and this is going to be my name parameter, ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create a void for, let's say, set health. Okay, so this is going to be a set health setter with a parameter of integer health, and then I'll go with the pair of curly braces and then set something like my health to be equal to my health parameter, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, honestly, I want my health to cap at 10, so before I set health to be equal to health, I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses, if my health parameter is greater than 0, I'm going to do something. I'll add a pair of curly braces and set my health to be equal to my health parameter. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Honestly, should it be a different name? Should I like change to something like HP? Okay, let's change that to HP and change that to enemy. Okay, let's go with the enemy here as well. Okay, the way you multitasking, bro, thinking and presenting while replying to our questions. Honestly, guys, I think like that makes it much easier because like I feel like I understand better when I read when I read codes or like questions. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and create another void method for, let's say, power. So I'll go with something like set power with a pair of parentheses. This is going to be having a parameter of power. I'll go with something like PWR. I have a pair of parentheses and set my power data member to be equal to my PWR parameter ending with a semicolon. Yeah, honestly, if I ever get distracted when writing code, I have to mentally start over. Oh, I see. Okay, let's see. Enemy like enemy, or does this mean something else? Honestly, enemy means it's like short form for a name, because honestly, could I use something like this? Let's go with something like this. Oh, I can use this. Okay, so I go with something like this name equals to name. Okay. Honestly, since I could use this, I might just change this to be name and like have more clarity. So I'll go with something like this health equals to health and change that to a health parameter. I'll go with something like health. Okay, and lastly, I'll go with something like this power, power equals to power. There we go. Okay, let me change that to power as well. There we go. Okay, perfect. Next up, I gotta create my getters as well. How can get your contact number, please, brother? Honestly, you guys could like type exclamation Discord in chat to like get access to my Discord server. I do like read or do talk to you guys in my Discord. I don't think he'll give you his contact number. You might be able to contact him on Discord. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and add my getters. For my getters, I'm going to be creating a standard string of getter for my name. So I'll go with a standard string. Okay, let's say of get name, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. I'm going to go ahead and return, let's say, my name parameter or my name data member, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add another let's go ahead and add a integer of health. So I'll go with something like get health. Okay, with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces, and then go ahead and return my health data member as well, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and lastly, let's go ahead and create a integer for my get power method or my get power getter, and then a pair of curly braces. I'm going to be returning my power data member, ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, let me go ahead and hydrate my lips maybe. It's kind of dehydrated. Okay, perfect. So, okay, next up, getters and setters for all three attributes did that. And then I got to create a method called attack that prints robot's name, attacks with power. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a attack method. So I could go with something like, let's say a void attack method with a pair of parentheses. So, honestly, instead of going with void, I could go with the attack method of my robot class, my battle robot class. So I'll go with something like battle robot. Okay, because I do want to add a target as well. The parameters are going to be something like, let's say something like, I don't know, how do I go with the target? So I could go with something like my battle robot class, and this is going to be with a dereferencing operator. Okay, so I get access to my actual target, not a copy of my target. So my targets, there we go. And then I'll add another parameter of amount, which is going to be an integer, and then a pair of curly braces. Basically what this means is I actually let's see. So the battle with the dereferencing operator, or the reference of operator, not the dereferencing, my bad. The dereferencing operator is like asterisk. The ampersand is a reference of operator. So this gives me access to the actual object. So if I like type something like my robot1 dot attack my object one, my object1 dot attack object2, it actually attacks my object2. Okay, so it gets access to my object, if that made any sense. Did you ever sleep? Honestly, I should get more sleep these days. How many monitors do you have, by the way? Honestly, I do have like 4 monitors. Okay, that said, let's go ahead and do something. So I'll do something like amount. Okay, I'll go with something like target.health, my target parameter, dot health minus equals to my amount. Okay, there we go. My amount parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, I think that should be pretty much it. Okay, next up, let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Okay, my guy working on pointers now. I'm so proud. Honestly, yeah, guys, it actually does feel pretty fun to do, because whatchamacallit, I do actually prefer like when one object interacts with the other object. That sounds pretty fun. Okay, so it says robot's name, so I'll go with something like robot space with another insertion operator of, let's say, my name data member with another insertion operator. So robot name attacks. Let's go with something like attacks with power. Okay, so robot name attacks with power of my power parameter. Okay, I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator of my power parameter, or my power data member. Okay, with another insertion operator of, let's say, an exclamation. Okay, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, that said, inside all constructors, use this pointer when assigning values. So inside all my constructors, I use this when assigning values, okay? And then I gotta create a main function. So basically, this was pretty much it for my battle robot class. Next up, let's go ahead and create a main function, or like a main function, add a pair of parentheses. Are you trying to be the Primogen? Honestly, I've never heard of Primogen. Guys, I think I should like go more on social media to like learn these new slangs. I feel like I'm too old for that. That said, create 2 battle robots, one using the default constructor and one using the overloaded one. So I gotta create 2 objects. Let's go ahead and create that, display their info using getters, make both robots attack. Okay, honestly, before I create the object, let's go ahead and create a few variables. The first variable is going to be standard string of name ending with a semicolon. The second variable is going to be of health, and the third variable is going to be power. Honestly, the reason I added 2 variables in one line is because both my variables are integers. Okay, next up, create 2 battle robots, one using the default constructor and one using the overloaded one. So let's go ahead and create, create 2 battle robots. So now let's go ahead and create 2 objects. So I want to create an object from my battle robots class. Okay, Primogen is a YouTuber / dev known mainly for his Wim skills. Oh, I see. K-time Indian guy always comes in clutch when it comes to programming, guys. That actually sounds pretty fun. Okay, so let's go with something like create two battle robots. So this is going to be something like BR1 battle robot one object with a pair of parentheses, and then honestly, I won't add a pair of parentheses because this is my my default constructor right here that already has all its parameters in. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and create another object. I'm going to go ahead and copy this object and paste it here. Just change BR1 to BR2. Okay, perfect. Although my BR2 will be having a pair of parentheses and a few parameters, the name parameter is going to be my name variable. What else parameters did I need? I needed a name parameter and a power parameter. So I'll go with something like name and power. There we go. Okay, perfect. And honestly, I might remove my health variable from here because like I wouldn't need that. Okay, let's see. That said, honestly, let me go ahead and create a standard console output now. So I'll go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Let's go with something like enter a name for your battle robot. There we go, ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator of my name variable ending with a semicolon. Next up, I'll go with another standard console output with another insertion operator. The first language you should learn for programming is Hindi. Thankfully, I'm Indian, so it's built for me, gives me a big advantage. Honestly, that does make sense. I do want to learn different languages. That's it. I do like understand a little Hindi, but I can't like commentate in it that fluently. That's it. I was learning Spanish as well. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and say something like enter a power for your battle robots. Battle robots. There we go. Ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator of a power variable of our power variable ending with a semicolon. So now we got values for our variables here. We created two objects. Okay, let's read the next instruction. Display the infos using getters and setters. Okay, so I gotta display the info using getters and setters. So instead of going with, excuse me guys, instead of not going with name, I could go with something like gets name. Okay, there we go. With a pair of parentheses. Okay, excuse me guys, and instead of going with power, I could go with something like get power. So I'll go with something like get power. There we go. Okay, so I use my getters and my setters. And then when I go with a battle robot, okay, honestly, I do remember that I had to return something with a dereferencing operator. So these are set healths. Should I go ahead and return something like this question mark? I mean, okay, actually, I don't think so. Okay, should I return it somewhere here? Maybe I do that in my constructors. I should actually ask Sensei. Okay, you use Google Firebase, now you don't have to work. Ooh, are you faking your accent or do you live in origin? Honestly, yeah, many of you guys do say me that I do fake my accent, although I am like, guys, it's impossible to fake our accent when we like speak for hours. That said, yeah, I haven't actually been to India. I do live in a foreign country. That said, I'm kind of, excited to visit India someday. I might actually stream myself, guys. Okay, display their info using getters and setters. Make both robots attack each other. So let's go with something like BR1. Okay, my battle robot 1 dot the attack method. I want to attack my battle robot 2, so I'll go with BR2. Okay, with let's say 50 damage, ending with a semicolon. And then honestly, do I have like a display stats? Okay, I might actually display my stats. Okay, let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. You can speak no native English. Do you speak native code? Honestly, yeah, that does make sense, guys. I do like speaking syntaxes. I did like hear that joke from one of you guys. That was kind of cool. Okay, so let's go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'll say something like current health. Current health. Okay, there we go. I'll go with another insertion operator of my get health getter with a pair of parentheses with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, my battle robot 1 attacks my battle robot 2. Then let's go ahead and do something like battle robot 2 dot attack battle robot 1. I want to attack my battle robot 1, so BR1. Okay, with let's say something like 30 damage ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0 ending with a semicolon. Okay, yes, for each dedication level 999. Which C++ application are you using? Honestly, I am using like VS Code to like actually write this code on. That said, if I were to hit Control S to save the code and run the command, it says I have like an error. Did I like mess something up? Okay, oh, there we go. I forgot to add a semicolon here. There we go. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay. Which field are you going to pursue? Honestly, actually, I haven't like thought of that completely. Although I did want to either be a cybersecurity or like a AI engineer. The reason I am like going over multiple programming languages is to actually see which I enjoy the most. Once I find a programming language that I enjoy the most, I will be sticking with that. That's it. I did want to explore some before I actually like stick to one programming language. Okay, that's it. Honestly, do I like have an error? If I Control S to save the code and run the command again, it says warning, no return statement in function. Oh, I see. Okay. Let's go to line 50. Okay, so in my function, I gotta return something here. Okay, maybe I should return something like, let's go ahead and return my target.health. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Maybe I should return a dereferencing operator of this ending with a semicolon. There we go, that actually might work. Let's hit a Control S and I might actually ask a question on why did I do that because I did forget. Use prettier extensions to avoid syntax errors. Oh, I see. Why does attack method return battle robot? Should it like return value by reference? Why does attack methods, like my attack method here, why does it return battle robots? Honestly, it returns this. The reason I did add like a my battle robots class inside of my parameter with a dereferencing operator and a target is to actually get access to my my current target that my current object that I entered there. So my object one could access or like manipulate the attributes of my object 2 using the attack method here. Okay, let's go with something like name Sarah, and let's go with battle. Battle is gonna be can't trade power. I'll go with something like 30. Okay, robot unknown attacks with 50 power, current health 50. Robot Sarah attacks with power 30, current health 50. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and remove that part. There we go, and then I'll go with an exclamation. Honestly, current health is new line. There we go. Okay, honestly, attacks with power 50. If I attack with 50 power, I should be having more than 100 health, right? Oh, okay, yeah, that does make sense, because my default health was set to 150. Wait, it was set to 100, right? Okay, honestly, let's go with the Control-C, copy that, give sensei/chatgpt here. Okay, guys, I have a couple of questions. Let's go ahead and paste. Let's go with Shift-Enter and say something like, so let's say, I actually forgot why did it, okay, actually, guys, why can't I delete this? Is like my stream lagging? Yeah, I don't think my stream is lagging. Oh, okay, good night, kid. This was, the way you said that, you're just having fun, not thinking much about the field. That W mindset, people don't do programming for fun anymore. Much love, keep having fun in programming. I appreciate your name, man. That actually does make sense. Like, the one crucial thing about programming is like if we actually enjoy it. If we don't enjoy it, it's like we're just torturing ourselves. That said, so let's say I actually forgot why did we add this to the referencing operator of this for my attack method? And do you think that I messed up somewhere? Question mark. Okay, let's see. Howdy S Fraud, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay. So you've forgotten what the this means. Help people listen closely and don't blink, because this concept is the soul of object-oriented programming itself. When you write this, you're saying, hey compiler, I'm talking about this particular object variable, not some random local one. Think of this as the robot's internal consciousness. It's how the object knows who it is inside of a world of many other. It's how the object knows who it is inside a world of many others. Oh, I see. Every object has its own memory of this. Now let's dissect your code like a battlefield autopsy. Okay, constructor. So far, constructor's perfect. You use this with a arrow mark operator correctly to initialize your robot's soul. Okay, its attributes, getters and setters, solid. Though you could make these setters more defensive, for example, preventing power from going below 0, but we'll allow it for that. An attack method, here's where you slipped just slightly. You made it return battle robot, which isn't really needed. Okay, you're not creating or modifying this for chaining, you're just performing an action. Returning this works syntaxically, okay, or is that pronounced as syntax? Okay, syntactically that makes sense, but logically it's meaningless in your current design. The better signature void attack battle is all you need. Also, that line of standard console output health prints the attacker's health, not the target's. Okay, that might not be what you intended. Your if your intent was to show your target's health after being attacked, then this line should instead print target.getHealth, but remember, since health is private, you can't access it directly outside the class. You'd either add a getter for it, you've already had one, okay, print inside the target's object after modifying it. Okay, so the current mental model, this is the robot's self-awareness. You used it to clarify your assigning to the current objects as variables. In your attack method, you don't need to return a dereferencing operator of this unless you want to chain attacks. For example, battle robot 1.attack, battle robot 1.attack again, battle robot 3. Oh, I see. Okay, now tell people, did you mean to print the attacker's health or the target's? And your answer will reveal whether you're fighting blind or fighting strategically. Okay, now tell people, did you mean to print the attacker's health or the target's? Okay, the target's health, let's say. What project are you working on? Honestly, I'm not like working on a specific project. That said, I am actually trying to master constructor overloading the stream. That said, last stream I did go over pointer, this pointer. Okay, this pointer in C++, guys. I cannot phrase. Okay, finally, you're starting to open those neurons, people. Okay, see that problem with your attack. Okay, see, that's the problem with your attack method. Right now, you print the attacker's health instead of the target's and returns this. It's just fluffier. It doesn't help your chain anything meaningful, okay? Doesn't help you chain anything meaningful. Here's your battlefield in your mind first. Keep your method signature. Void attack has a method of battle robot with a ampersand or a reference sub operator of our target and then a integer of amount parameter as well. No need to return this unless you're chaining attacks, which isn't necessary. Okay, oh, so I could go with a void as well. Okay, that makes more sense now. Subtract the damage from the target's health, target.setHealth, target.getHealth minus amount. Subtract the damage from the target's health. Okay, target.setHealth, so that is my setter, and then target.getHealth. Use the setter so you respect the rules like health is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, print the target's new health, get name. Oh, I see. Okay, that makes so much sense. Everything else, constructors, getter, setter, this pointer, you nailed. You just misspelled the output in this one move. Okay, if you want, I can rewrite your full battle code correctly. Honestly, no, let me say something like, let's say, I think that I see ... That said, okay, can I get a instructional based question this time that isn't related to RPG? I'm a bit tired solving RPG or battle related questions, let's say. Okay, guys, I should fix my typos, honestly. Okay, finally, people, I was trying to think your brain only works with swords and spells. Here's a fresh angle. Let's step away from RPG and dive into something practical, a smart home system. This will Okay, this will still use everything we've learned: constructor, overloading, getter, setter, this pointer, and chaining if you want. Instructional question, no RPG, I promise. Here, create a class called SmartLight. So we create a class called SmartLight, and then we have 3 private data members. Let's go, guys. It has a boolean as well. So we go with a standard string of name like living room light, a boolean of is on, is my light on or off, a integer of brightness which goes from 0 to 100. The amount of respect ChatGPT is getting from you is in another level. Guys, ChatGPT is my sensei. I'm a pupil. Always respect your teachers. Okay, that said, constructor overloaded, default constructors, sets name to unknown, is on to false. Okay, and then brightness to be 150. Okay, so the first constructor has default values. Constructor with only name, okay, is set on to false. Brightness is to 50. Constructor with all 3 parameters. Okay, that is sets name to unknown. Okay, next up for methods, turn on method slash turn off method that changes is on and print status. Okay, set brightness with a parameter of integer. Okay, with a parameter of integer. Honestly, shouldn't I set anything else like integer of something else? Okay, that sets brightness from 0 to 100, and then a display status method that prints name, on slash off, and brightness. Bonus, if you're feeling spicy, make your turn on method and set brightness method return this, so you can chain like turn on dot set brightness display status. That actually sounds pretty fun. I might do that. And then for our main function, ask the user for a name, on slash off, and brightness. Create at least 2 lights with different constructors. Demonstrate turning them on slash off, chaining brightness, and displaying status. This is perfect for practicing everything we've covered without swords or magic. I want you to try it yourself, pupil. Do not copy what I do. I want to see how well your brain builds this from scratch. Okay, you respect people and AI also. That actually sounds pretty fun, guys. Okay, that said, let me go ahead and get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. That said, let's go ahead and Control A to delete everything, and let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. Okay, and then let's go ahead and read the instructions. So it says, let me scroll all the way down. Okay, so it says to create a class called SmartLight. So let's go ahead and create a class called SmartLight. There we go. And then add a pair of parentheses. Actually, a pair of curly braces, so I include IO stream. Did I spell something wrong? IOSTR. There we go. I spelled IO stream wrong. Okay, after including IO stream, I gotta create 3 private data members of name, which is a string, is on, which is a boolean, and brightness, which is a integer. So let's go with something like private. There we go. Okay, private of a standard string, which is going to be name, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then a boolean of is on to check if my light is on or off. So I'll go with is on. There we go. Okay, which is going to be ending with a semicolon as well. And lastly, a integer of brightness level. So I'll go with something like brightness. Okay, ending with a semicolon as well. Next up, I got to create constructor overloaded. So let's go ahead and create. Actually, before I create a constructor, I might publicize my whole class. So I'll go with public, a pair of parentheses, and then let's go ahead and create a few constructors. Maybe I'll add a comment that says constructors. There we go. Okay, so for my constructors, the first constructor, okay, default constructors sets name to unknown, is on to false, and brightness to be 50. So let's go ahead and call my SmartLight class, add a pair of parentheses, and fill in a few constructors. The first is going to be standard string of name, which is going to be equal to unknown. Honestly, I might not need parameters here. I could just add a pair of curly braces and then do something like this, a arrow mark operator, this name data member equals to, let's say, unknown, okay, ending with a semicolon, and then something like this, a arrow mark operator of is on data member equals to false, ending with a semicolon as well. Lastly, this arrow mark operator of my brightness data member equals to 50, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. That's pretty much it for my first constructor. Next up, for my second constructor, create that constructor with only name. Okay, with only name. Sets is on to be false and brightness to be 50. Okay, so let's go ahead and create another constructor for my smart lights class, allow a pair of parentheses. Although my second constructor will only be asking the user for a name parameter, so I'll go with standard string of name and then a pair of curly braces inside of my constructor. I'm gonna do something like this name data member equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon, and then something like, I don't know, this is on data member equals to, let's see, is on is set to false, so the lights are off. And lastly, I'll go with this brightness data member equals to, let's say, 50. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and then I gotta create one more constructor with all three parameters. So I gotta ask the user for all three parameters this time. So let's go ahead and call my smart light class, add a pair of parentheses. This will be asking the user for three parameters. The first is going to be a name parameter. Let's say the second is going to be a boolean of is on, so I'll go with something like is on parameter. And lastly, a integer of brightness. There we go. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces after adding all my three parameters and initialize them. So I'll go with something like this. Let's say this name data member equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon. And something like this, let's say is on data member equals to my is on parameter ending with a semicolon as well. And lastly, I'll go with something like this brightness data member equals to my brightness parameter. Okay, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, perfect. Next up, I gotta create methods now. So let's go with another comment that says something like methods. So I'll go with something like methods. Okay, for my methods, I'm going to be creating a turn on method and a turn off method that changes is on and prints the status. So let's go with something like a void method called is on or turn on. So I'll go with something like turn on. There we go. And guys, I gotta check, is my stream lagging? Okay, what is he making? Honestly, I'm not like working on a specific project. That's it. I am working on constructor overloading this stream. That's it. Last stream I did go over the this pointers, so I am using this pointers as well. Although these are whatchamacallit, some instructional based questions that I'm trying to solve to actually get some whatchamacallit. I actually forgot what I wanted to say. For some practice, there we go. Okay, so inside of my turn on method, I gotta change is on to be true. So let's go with something like my is on data member is going to be equal to true, ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, if I turn on, that is set to true, and then print the status. So the status of something like, I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like the lights are turned on now. There we go, exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Honestly, should I like go with a reference of operator? Because I do wanna, maybe I could go with something like this is on is going to be set to true. That is going to change my is on from all the way up here. Okay, I should create getters and setters as well, honestly, should I? Okay, so bonus if you're feeling spicy, make turn on, set brightness. Okay, so honestly, I could create getters and setters, but let's read the instructions. Okay, set brightness integer, and then display the set brightness. Okay, I don't think this question asks for getters and setters, so I might not create this question. Okay, next up, I'm going to go ahead and create a turn off method with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, which is going to set my this is on data member to be equal to false ending with a semicolon, and then it's going to say standard, it's going to display a standard console output that says something like the lights are turned off now, exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, the lights, there we go, the lights are turned off now. Okay, next up, I gotta create, I gotta create a set brightness method with a parameter of an integer that sets brightness from 0 to 100. Constructor overloading is kind of simple topic, you've covered it fully guess it's soon time to move to the next level. Honestly, I do have like specific stuffs in my roadmap. That's the next year. I might move on to like something more. Okay, what are you making, bro? Honestly, I'm not like working on something specific. That's it. I am just learning the basics of C++, object-oriented programming. That said, in this stream, I am working about constructor overloading. Last stream, I did work on the this pointer. Okay, so next up, I gotta create a set brightness. So let's go ahead and create another white method of set brightness. So I'll go with brightness, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, that sets brightness to be something from 0 to 100. Huh. Okay, so I could go with something like a parameter of amount. So I'll go with integer of amount. And then I'll go ahead and add a standard console output. Honestly, let's see. I might go with an if statement. So if a pair of parentheses, let's say something like if my brightness data member. Okay, I could go with like a reference of operator of brightness data member. Would this make sense, guys? Okay, this has access to my actual whatchamacallit brightness parameter. Or should I go with something like this? Would this work here? Okay, if this brightness data member is either let's say greater than 0, so it needs to be more than 0. Okay, and this brightness data member, okay, should be less than 100, less than or equal to 100. So if my brightness is either greater than 0, okay, and my brightness is less than or equal to 100, should I just go with less than? Okay, let's think. Let me think real quick. So if my brightness is either more than 0, I want the user to be able to add some brightness or less than or equal to 0. Okay, I'll add a pair of curly braces. Okay, and then I'm gonna do something. I gotta either increase the brightness or decrease the brightness. That sets brightness from 0 to 100. Oh, okay. Hold up. Honestly, brightness is 50. I want to do something. Let's see. So I could ask the user for a standard console output with an insertion operator. I'm gonna say something. Okay, let's actually delete this. Okay, let's add a variable up here that checks if my brightness is set to 0. So honestly, no, man, I don't think I need to add that. Okay, let's see. So if my brightness is greater than 0 or less than 100, set brightness and amount. That amount is going to be equal to my brightness. Okay, so I'll do something like this brightness parameter. So this okay, this brightness data member is going to be equal to my amount parameter ending with a semicolon. I'll go with something like else a pair of curly braces. I'll add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like your brightness or the brightness can't go over 100 or below 0. Exclamation with a / new line ending with a semicolon. There we go. So now if my brightness, okay, so whatever my user enters here, that is gonna my brightness will be equal to that brightness. Okay, perfect. Okay, next up, let's see. I gotta create a display method as well. So let me go ahead and create another method called display. So I'll go with a void display method. Okay, with a pair of parentheses. Then maybe zoom in a bit. And then a pair of curly braces. Inside of my display method, let's see, that prints the name. Okay, that prints my user's name, either on or off, and my brightness. So I could go with something like let's see, a standard console output with an insertion operator of my user's name. For my names, before my let's say before my constructors, I do want to create getters and setters. Honestly, after my constructors or before my methods, I'm going to create a few setters. Hello, hiding. Hi, I appreciate you joining the stream, bro. Check amount, not brightness. Value in if condition. Check amount. Oh, okay, that does make sense. Guys, I should actually pay more attention in these things. There we go. I appreciate you, X, for catching that though. Okay, so if my amount parameter, let me remove these. There we go. If my amount parameter, let's go with the Control C and then delete that and stats. There we go. Okay, so if my amount is either greater than 0 or less than or equal to 100, this brightness is going to be equal to amount. Okay, perfect. Next up, for my setters, let's go ahead and create a setter. The first, I'm going to create a void of something like set name, add a pair of parentheses. My set name setter won't be having a parameter. That said, I would go ahead and set my this name data member to be equal to, let's say, my name parameter. Honestly, I might need a parameter. There we go. Okay, this is going to be a standard string of name. Okay, that is going to be set to name ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and create another setter. This is going to be for is on, set is on. Okay, add a pair of parentheses. Honestly, would I need a setter for this? I think I would. Okay, my set on is going to be having a parameter of boolean. Let's say something like is on. There we go. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces and go with something like this. A arrow mark operator of my is on data member is going to be equal to my is on, whatchamacallit, let's see, my is on parameter. And lastly, I'll go with a void set brightness. So I'll go with set brightness data member, okay, with a parameter which is going to be an integer of brightness. There we go. I'll add a pair of curly braces and then set something like this, a pair of arrow marks. Okay, let's go with something like this brightness data member is going to be equal to my brightness parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, at the moment I'm into Java. At first watching, I thought I was a new version of it because it was similar at first glance. Oh, I see. Yeah, the first moment I'm into Java at first watching, I thought it was a new version. Oh, I see. That actually makes so much sense. Okay, let's see. I did create my setters. Let's go ahead and create my getters now. So I'm going to be creating my getters. Okay, and before I create my getters, I might drink some water because I am kind of dehydrated. Okay, that said, for my getters, let's go ahead and create a standard string getter called something like, I don't know, maybe something like get name. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. For my getter, I'm going to do something. Let's go ahead and return my name data member ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up I'm going to go ahead and create a boolean of get is on, okay, getter, and then a pair of curly braces. I'm going to return something like my is on data member ending with a semicolon as well. Lastly, I'm going to be creating a integer of get brightness getter, and then add a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. Inside of my this getter, I'm going to be returning something. Let's go ahead and return my brightness data member ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Now that I've created getters and setters, I'm going to go all the way down to my display method. In my display method, I gotta display my user's name, whether my light is on or off, and brightness. Okay, so I'll go with something like a pair of double quotes name, and then add another insertion operator. This is gonna be my get names as getter with a pair of with a pair of parentheses to call the function or invoke the function, and then I'll go in a new line, add another insertion operator. Honestly, I might add a new line here, ending with a semicolon. Okay, there we go. And then let's go ahead and add another static console output with an insertion operator and type something like lights. Okay, lights with a pair of parentheses, or honestly, I might go with something like light on slash off. Let's see if my light is either on or off. I'll go with another insertion operator of is on. Okay, get is on. Okay, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. And I did add a pair of parentheses here to invoke my function. Okay, lastly, let's go with another standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to be my brightness level. So I'll go with something like brightness. What's up, what's up? How are you, Yash? I appreciate you joining the stream. I'll go with another insertion operator of my brightness data member. Honestly, instead I might just go with my getter. So I'll go with get brightness, add a pair of parentheses to invoke my function, another insertion operator of a forward slash new line, ending with a semicolon. Let me zoom out so you guys can see the whole code. Okay, yo, may I ask you, what is your chat GPT prompt to be a good teacher like yours? I would try it with Java. Honestly, I can't like give the exact chat GPT prompt because there is something like, whatchamacallit, there's like some private information. That said, the only thing I did add in my chat GPT prompt is like I gave my roadmap and said the kind of sensei I need. So I went with something like sensei. So chat GPT acts like this. If I went with something like a different kind, like a actual math teacher, Sensei slash ChatGPT would act like a math teacher. So it's basically like just give your roadmap and say what kind of how do you want Sensei to behave, and also like say something about yourself kind of topic. You could say something about yourself and like how you want Sensei slash ChatGPT to behave, or like whatever kind of ChatGPT you prefer. Okay, hi, how are you doing, Sakik? I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, why are you using getter inside the class? Why are you using getter inside the class? Honestly, don't we use it inside the class? I thought that like we usually use it inside classes or like outside classes. Okay, let's see. Why not? Can you give an example of prompt? Honestly, the best example that I could give is like I just gave my roadmap and said Sensei the way I want Sensei to talk and like the way I prefer Sensei talking. That's it. I did say something about myself as well, like and I prefer these things. Okay, that said, I gotta create a set brightness. So methods, I have a turn on, turn off, a set brightness method, I added my getters and setters, and lastly my display method. Okay, bonus, if you're feeling spicy, make turn on and set brightness return this so you can chain. Okay, so inside my turn on and turn off, instead of going with something like, whatchamacallit, let's see, a void, I might go with an integer and return this. So let's go with something like return a dereferencing operator of this, ending with a semicolon. Okay, honestly, since I did that, I think this should be my, my smart light class. So I'll go with something like smart light class of turn on. There we go. And then my turn off is going to be of my smart light class as well. And lastly, let's go ahead and return a dereferencing operator of this, ending with a semicolon. Okay, why are you gay, guys? Okay, that's so much. I appreciate. That's it, guys. I'm not actually gay. I'm straight. Okay, let's use /t in the string to display proper equal space. Oh, I see. Are you so cool at speaking English? That's so cool. I appreciate you, Tester. That means a lot. Okay, honestly, let's see. Next up. So, okay, make turn on and make turn on and set brightness return this. Okay, honestly, let's go with my set brightness as well. Okay, this is going to be my set brightness. Okay, I'll go with something like my... Okay, this is going to be my smart light class. Okay, with a set brightness method that goes ahead and returns this. So a dereferencing operator of this, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Did I like mess something up? Okay, so I go with my smart light class with something like set brightness, integer amount. Okay, honestly, didn't I do the same thing here? Do I have a typo? Set brightness. Okay, with a parameter of amount. Okay, actually, let's just go with a bunch of control Z's. I might ask this part to Sensei/ChatGPT. Okay, that is going to be void for now. Okay, that's it. Let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon. Print /a. It's funny. Try it. Honestly, I'll actually try it after this question. Okay, next up, let's go ahead and create our main function. So I could go with something like integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Inside of my main function, I gotta ask the user for a name, a status of is on or off, and a brightness. So let's go with something like a standard string variable, which is going to be called name. Next up, a boolean variable, which is going to be called on. I'll go with something like is on. Okay, ending with a semicolon. And lastly, a integer of brightness, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, perfect. That said, I gotta create at least 2 lights with different constructors. create two light objects with different constructors. So let's go ahead and honestly get a few values for these variables as well. I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a name. Okay, for your lights. Enter a name for your lights. Okay, ending with a semicolon. That said, I'll go with a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my name variable, ending with a semicolon as well. Next up, next up, let's go with another standard console input with an insertion operator. I'll say something like, do you want your lights to be turned on or off? Turned on or off? Question mark. Okay, maybe I zoom out a bit so you guys can see this. Let's go with a question mark here, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my is on variable, ending with a semicolon as well. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, create another standard console output with an insertion operator. That is going to say something like, set a brightness level from 0 to 100. Okay, and then I'm going to be ending now with a semicolon. And lastly, I'm going to go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my brightness variable, ending with a semicolon. Okay, do you want your lights to be turned on or off? Honestly, when I say that, I might go with something like 1/0, 1 for true. Actually, 1 for false and 0 for true. Okay, once you vote and honestly, I think I understand. Okay, that said, create at least two light objects with different constructors. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a few objects of my smart lights class. So I'll go with smart light 1, which is going to be having a pair of parentheses and a few parameters. Let's see what all kind of constructors I have. I have a default constructor. Okay, I have a default constructor. I have a constructor that only requires name. I have a constructor that requires all three parameters. I might go with a default constructor, so that's going to be my default constructor. And then I'm going to go ahead and create another light object, which is going to be called light 2. That is going to be having all my parameters. So I'll go with a name parameter, I'll go with a is on boolean parameter, and lastly I'll go with a brightness parameter. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, demonstrate turning them on/off, changing brightness and displaying status. So I gotta demonstrate turning them on and off. Okay, turning on/off, changing brightness and displaying status. Oh, okay, basically what that means is I gotta go with something like my light 1 dot, I don't know, maybe, okay, let's go with something like turn on. I want to turn it on. Okay, and then I'll go with something like dot get brightness. My brightness is going to be 50. And then I'll go with something like dot, honestly don't have a parameter for my set brightness. Did I go with set or get? Oh, I went with get. Okay, that should be set brightness. That is my setter, right? Okay, I want to go with my set brightness method. Oh, the reason probably I couldn't go is because I do have a setter called set brightness. Okay, I might go with something like set bright. Okay, there we go. And this is going to be my smart classes object, smart lights object, set bright. Okay, and then let's go ahead and return the dereferencing operator of this ending with a semicolon. There we go, now it works. Okay, the reason this didn't work before was because I had a setter of this name. Okay, that makes so much more sense. So I'll go with something like set bright. Okay, let's go with something like set bright. Okay, perfect. And then let's see, I'll add a parameter of 50. I want my brightness to be 50. Next up, I'll go with something like display. I want to display my light 1 as well, ending with a semicolon. And then I could go with something like fixing my typo. There we go. Okay, and then let's go ahead and add a standard console output with an insertion operator. Bro, you're gay? Honestly, guys, I'm not gay. I get that so much every single stream. I should actually like write it somewhere. Okay, that's it. I'll go with a standard end line ending with a semicolon. And then I'll go with something like light 2 dot turn on. Okay, actually, let's turn off my light 2. And then I'll go with something like dot set bright. I want to set my light 2's brightness to be 30. And then I want to display my light 2. So let's go ahead and display my light 2. Okay, with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0 ending with a semicolon as well. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. So, okay, enter a name for your light. I'll go with something like, I want to change light for my living room. Okay. Do you want your lights to be turned on or turned off? I'll go with something like, I want it to be turned off. Set brightness level from 1 to 100. I want to set it to be something like, I don't know, 30. Wait, did I manually set my brightness here? What up, guys? Give me a sec. That's going to be name is on, is off, set brightness. Oh, wait, no, man, I was doing it correct. That's so stupid. Okay, why are you interested in him? Said I, howdy to star. Appreciate you joining the stream. Bro, you have my respect. I have none for myself. Don't worry, guys. I mean, I actually have a lot of respect for you guys. Okay, you guys should always, whatchamacallit, never not have respect for yourself, because I feel like that's the whole purpose of like living. That said, this is going to be my living room. I want the lights to be on. That should be 30. Okay. Lights are turned on now. Name unknown. Lights on. 1. That means true. Then brightness 50. Lights are turned off. Name living. Okay. Lights are turned off. Brightness is 30. Okay, perfect. Let's go with a control C. Honestly, for my is on, I might actually not even set a variable here. Like, I might not even need a variable because I'm not like asking the user. Okay, let's just remove that. Okay, let's go with the control C. Copy that. Get sensei/ChatGPT right there. Okay, and then go ahead and paste this. Maybe drink some water, guys, because I'm kind of dehydrated. Okay, people, I can feel your brains. Wires are almost fried, but we gotta tighten this up before we even celebrate. I can already see a few things screaming at me. In our main function, you wrote smart light 2 name is on brightness. Where did the is on come from? Oh, my bad, guys, I forgot to remove that. Okay, you never defined it. You asked the user for I or 0. You stored it in brightness. So you probably meant something like boolean is on equals to brightness underscore input, which equals to 1, and use that in the constructor. You misspelled light 2. That will bite you later. Minor typo in output of turn off. The lights are turned off now. Let's fix that to turned on. Okay, in our set brightness function amount, you check amount greater than 0, but 0 is valid, should be greater than or equal to 0. Okay, in our display method, okay, printing get is on will print 1 or 0 if you want. Okay, if you want user friendly, standard console outputs. Okay, get is on or off. Okay, also your class name is smartlight lowercase. By convention, classes should start with uppercase. Not a bug. Okay, but messy. Action time, fix all of the above mistakes, make the program actually work, user input for on/off. Okay, let's I guess fix those things. So let's get sensei/ChatGPT there. Firstly, I wouldn't need a is on parameter, guys. I actually forgot to change that. That's set. That's gonna be my name. That's gonna be my brightness. Although, honestly, inside of my constructor that takes all 3 parameters, I might not. Actually, I might just take this parameter. Okay, let's go with a bunch of control Z's. Is on. There we go. Now my is on is either 1 or 0. Okay, actually, I might go with something like if is on equals to on, I set it to be true, else I set it to be false. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete this standard console output from here. Instead, I'll go with a if statement, add a pair of parentheses. Let's do something like if my is on variable equals to something like, I don't know, on then I'm gonna do something. If it's equal to on, honestly, why can't I like check if it's equal to something? Okay, I'll set this to be false by default. Okay, if it's if is on is a boolean. Hi, what are you making with CPP? Honestly, I'm not actually working on making like a specific project. That's it. This stream, I am actually working on learning about constructor overloading. Last stream, I did go over pointers in C++. It's all like inside of my object-oriented programming concept. Okay, if that made any sense, guys. So boolean is on is set to false by default. So I honestly might not need this. Okay, let's go ahead and delete the if statement and add the console output. Set that to be equal to false by default. Okay, the lights are set to false. Okay, and then is on 1/0. Okay. Honestly, would I even need like a is on? Let's go up to my constructor here. Set that to be equal to false here by default. Okay. Okay, and then let me go all the way down. Okay, and then I might not need my boolean variable here. Neither would I probably need this. Okay, now the is on here. Okay, let's go to Control Z. Let's see where I'm messing up. Probably because I need a parameter. Let's go ahead and remove my boolean is on from here. Okay, and then do something here. Change that to be equal to false. Okay, perfect. And now I might not need this. There we go. Name. Excuse me, guys. Okay, I might not need my is on here in that case. There we go. Okay, perfect. That works. Okay, next up. Okay, what else? Get is on are off. Okay, standard console output. Okay, that's honestly pretty much it. If I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, let's go with something like living room. Brightness level is going to be 50. Okay, unknown lights on 1, brightness. So lights are turned on, lights are turned off, brightness level 30. Okay, perfect. Let's go with the control A, Control C, copy that, get some say/GPT here. Paste it, go with Shift Enter and say something like, let's say, I honestly want to work with a, let's see, what do I want to work with? Work with maybe a shopping program, question mark, if that made any sense, question mark. Okay, let's see. Okay, are you controlling if they send a string value in a integer value? Honestly, I don't think I'm actually controlling that. I should actually like look into that because I know that that's really important to do. Okay, that's it, people. I see the spark in your eyes. A shopping program, perfect sense. And we'll smash together constructors, overloading this pointer, getter/setters, basic IO. Okay, honestly, I actually forgot what does IO mean. I think, does IO mean like true or false? Into something practical. Before we dive in, let me point out some small hiccups from your smart light code. Light 2 is misspelled. That'll haunt you like a ghost in your compiler. Get is on, print 0 or 1 for shopping user friendly. Text is better. Okay, you'd want on or off instead. Alright, let's think shopping. Here's a concept for your exercise. Object, create a product called class that represents items in a store. Requirements, use a constructor overloading. One constructor for default products, one constructor that takes name and parameters, one constructor that takes name, price, and quantity. Include getter and setters for all attributes, include methods. Oh, IO is input, output. Oh, that makes sense. Okay, actually, yeah, guys, I actually knew what that means. I actually forgot. Okay, that is going to generate issue. Try using try catch. Honestly, I haven't like learned about the try catch, but I might actually look into that after the stream if I have some time because I do got an exam soon, guys. That said, actually, exam for my college. My bad. There we go. Okay, so I gotta include methods. So a add stock method increases amount, increases quantity. A buy method with a parameter of amount, which is going to be an integer that reduces but Don't let it go below 0. Use the dereferencing operator of this for method chaining. Then in our main function, let the user input price and quantity for one product. Then demonstrate adding stock and buying items. This will be perfect for shopping tests that touches everything we've learned so far. If you want, I can give you a broken starter template and you can fix it step by step, or I can explain you how the code should flow in words, and you try writing it. Which approach would you like to program with? Honestly, I might just use the instructional based questions. Okay, the requirements. Okay, let me say something like a instructional based questions. Let's say, okay, let's see. Alright, people, here's your instructional based question for today. No RPG time. Let's go shopping. Create a product called class for a mini shopping program. Follow these rules exactly. So my product is class must have three private data members of name, which is going to be a string, a price, which is going to be a double, and a quantity, which is going to be an integer. Constructors overloaded them. Okay, default constructors, name unknown, price 0, quantity 0. Constructor with name and price, quantity defaults to 0. Constructor with the name, price, and quantity. Okay, and then I gotta create getters and setters for all attributes. Okay, and then a method add stock integer amount increases quantity. Use the dereferencing operator of this for chaining. By integer amount decreases quantity but not below 0. Use the dereferencing operator of this for chaining. Display methods print the product name, product price, and the product quantity in user-friendly format. Okay, so no machine code. Main program asks the user to input name, price, and quantity for a product. Create a product object using that input. Demonstrate adding stock and buying some quantity using method chaining. Display the product stats before and after the operation. Honestly, let me say something like, Sensei. Guys, is the stream lagging? Okay, I think it's not. I don't know why was this lagging. Yeah, let's say something like, Sensei, maybe can I get a question like this that keeps asking the user for a item and a price until the user does not click E to exit, and then I give the total question mark. Okay, this would be more fun actually, I think. Okay, now we're talking people. Let's make it interactive and more user and more useful. Here's the instructions questions. I got to create a product class, have these parameters, a constructor, getter, display methods of name and price. Inside our main program, keep asking the user to enter a product until after each entry as you want to buy another product. Okay, stop asking when the user types and calculate the total price of all products. Print all products, the total. Okay, no super chat button. Honestly, I haven't set that up because, like, guys, I'm actually kind of busy. Okay, because like after my after I'm done streaming, I usually like work on my college stuff. That said, let's go with the control A and delete everything. Let's start off by including a pair of ankle braces. What kind of coding is this? Honestly, I'm actually just working on the basics of C++. That's it. Today I'm working on a concept on object-oriented programming. It's called, I forgot what was it called. It's called constructor overloading. That's it. I am doing a few instructional based questions to like just practice and like work on my muscle memory. Okay, so I'm gonna start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream, and then let's see. Okay, let's read the instructions. Let's go all the way down. There we go. Okay, so it says to create a class called product. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a class called product. There we go. And then add a pair of curly braces. Inside of my products as class, I'm going to be creating 3 private data members. Honestly, 2 private data members of name, which is going to be a string, and double, which is going to be a price. So let's go with something like private. And guys, is the stream lagging? Because I feel my VS Code is lagging. Okay, I'll go with something like private. Okay, the first is going to be a standard string of name ending with a semicolon. The second one is going to be a double of price ending with a semicolon as well. And then I got to create constructors, product, string name, double price. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a constructor. And everything under my private data members is going to be publicized. So I'll go with public. Honestly, is it like a good habit to indent stuff like this? Okay, I'll go ahead and add a comment that says constructor. There we go. Okay, and then for my constructors, let's do something. So constructor, Okay, I'm going to be calling my product class, adding a pair of parentheses, product, C or C++ or C. It's honestly C++. How do I even start learning? Should I read books or do some online research? Honestly, what's your gender? Honestly, I am male. That said, whatchamacallit, the way I would recommend starting is by actually, if you're like completely new to programming, you could start with an easy programming language, for example, Python, maybe watch a few tutorials. Once you get a basic hang of it, I would recommend doing as many questions as you can and then working your way up. And like, honestly, many of you guys did recommend me to like read books, although I feel like learning using ChatGPT/Sensei works the best for me. So I would like recommend seeing what learning method works the best for you by like exploring. Okay, if that made any sense, guys, you guys could like fact check me. Okay, that said, this is going to be my constructor will have two parameters. First is going to be of name, and second is going to be of, let's say, double price. Okay, and then I'll add a pair of parentheses and a pair of curly braces. Stop that accent, that's irritating. Guys, you guys could actually mute it. That said, I actually can't even speak in any other accent that fluently. Okay, so let's go with something like a standard. Honestly, I'm going to initialize my parameters. I'll go with something like this. Let's say this name data member equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon, and something like this price data member equals to my price parameter ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, let's see next up. Okay, so now that I've initialized it for my constructor, I just gotta create one constructor, so I'm not gonna be using constructor overloading here. Next up, I gotta create getters for both attributes, so let's go ahead and create getters and setters. Maybe I add a comment that says these are gonna be my setters. Okay, for my setters, I'm going to be creating a void method. So let's go with something like void. Okay, set name. This is going to be set name. There we go. Okay, for my setter, I'm going to be adding a pair of parentheses and then a parameter of name and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, this is going to be a standard string of name. There we go. Okay, bro, people gonna show the frick. Honestly, guys, actually, I do feel that's kind of funny though. Okay, because I get that so much. You guys do actually say me, guys, I'm actually faking my accent and everything. But I'm like, it's almost impossible to fake our accent while I'm like focusing on programming, while reading the chats, and also speaking for hours. Okay, stop forcing that corny accent, guys. This is like my actual accent. Hey, just leave him alone, guys. You tell him. Okay, next up, let's see. So, for a void set name, I'm going to do something. I'm going to set, let's say this. Let's go with something like this name data member equals to my name parameter ending with a semicolon. Then let's see. Okay, I gotta create a setter for my price as well. So let's go ahead and create something like a void set price. Add a pair of parentheses and then do something. Okay, this is going to be a double of, let's say, price, and then a pair of curly braces. Then I'm going to set my this price data member to be equal to the price data member to be equal to my price variable. What's your age? Honestly, I am 17 years old. I'm going to be turning 18 real soon. Kind of excited for that. My birthday is on the January 5th. I actually don't have any special stream ideas for that. It might just be a regular stream. Okay, that said, I gotta display methods for... Okay, after creating my setters, I gotta create getters as well. Okay, let's go ahead and create getters now. So I'll go with something like getters. Okay, change that to S and change this to G. There we go. Okay, for my getters, I'm gonna be doing something. Let's go with something like a standard string of get name. Okay, of get name with a pair of parentheses. Okay, this is gonna be not having any parameters, although I will be returning something. Let's go ahead and return my name data member ending with a semicolon. Where do you live, guys? Honestly, I should like I used to before say where I'm like actually from, but some of you guys did say me to avoid saying that. That said, should we focus on algorithms more? Honestly, I've never like worked much with algorithms. I have worked with algorithms one where I include algorithm, but honestly, I haven't worked much with that. So actually, I might actually not have much idea on that. I mean, eventually, I do want to work more on those things. Okay, that said, I'll go with a double price. So, okay, this is going to be something like get price. Okay, get price of my getter where I'm going to be returning my, let's say, price parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Honestly, for my setter here, I might actually add a if statement before I set my price. I'll go with something like if a pair of parentheses while my price is either greater than or equal to 0, I'm going to do something. I'll go ahead and set my this a arrow operator of my price data member that is going to be equal to my price parameter ending with a semicolon. Guys, is my stream lagging? I think it is. Give me a sec, guys. Let me restart my stream real quick. Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, I think that should fix the lag. There we go. Predator waiting in chat. Guys, who's the predator? Okay, that said, let's see. So I created my setters and my getters. Next up, let's see. Okay, so it says I gotta display methods. So display method prints name and price. So I gotta create methods now. So under my getters, I'm going to be adding a comment that says something like methods. Okay, I'm gonna grind do Python by. Honestly, that does sound pretty cool. Good luck with your Python, Jerry Wyron. Okay, let's go with something like methods. Hi, can I know how did you start learning C? Honestly, I started with like learning, first I did start with like learning Python and then I moved on to like C++. That said, in my channel, I do have a playlist of like learning C++. That said, I did like start streaming myself from learning C++ from day 1. This is currently day 30, so like you guys could check there. Like you guys could like watch my, first ever stream in my, not first ever stream, first ever C++ stream on my channel. That's how I actually started. That was like the first time I even started learning C++. That said, I went through a lot of basics there. Okay, let's see. So for my methods, I gotta create a display method. So, okay, I gotta create a display method. So let's go ahead and create a void display method with a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. My display method won't be having a, a parameter in it because it's just going to be printing. Okay, so I gotta print my name and price. So let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Why function get name and get price don't return this name and this price? Honestly, because this basically what this does is like in terms of Python, if you like did actually work on Python, this works like the self. So this this points towards my my data type inside of my private area here, inside of my private data members. That said, if I want to return something, this is like a pointer. In the other hand, if I want to return something, I gotta actually change this to be something like my, what was my class name? My product class, and then instead of returning something like, instead of returning this, a arrow mark operator of price, I could do something like return a dereferencing operator of this ending with a semicolon. What this basically does is it lets me change stuff. So like I could do something like my object1 dot attack object, that same exact object. So like object, let me just add in a comment here, guys, because I feel I'm sounding like really vague. Okay, so I'll go with like a comment here and do something like my object1 dot the attack method. When I attack someone, I can do, for example, another attack method. It helps me change stuff, and then maybe even something like a sleep method. Although without the return, I can like chain methods like this. I would need to do something like object1.attack and then object1.sleep, something like this, if that made any sense, guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and delete all this. And then maybe change this back to a void method, and then remove that. There we go. Okay, that's it. I did have like, you guys can like actually watch my previous stream where I like went over the this pointer, because like guys, I can't phrase. I went to this pointer, so there I would be more specific because I was doing questions related to this concept. Okay, thanks, brother. Which year are you in right now? Which year? Honestly, in terms of college, I'm like, I didn't actually start any programming courses because I am a freshman. That said, let's see. So in my display method, I could go with something like name. Howdy, KV Cox, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, so I'll go with something like name with an insertion operator. This is going to be my name data member. Honestly, instead of going with my name data member, I could go with my getters. So something like get name, a pair of parentheses to invoke my getter, with another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add another standard console output with an insertion operator, this time for my price. So I'll go with something like price. Okay, and then I'll go with an insertion operator of my get price data member. There we go. And then I'll add a pair of parentheses to invoke my data member, actually to invoke my getter, with a / new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, next up, that's basically it for my class. So let's go ahead and end my class with a semicolon. And now go ahead and create a main function. So I'm going to create a main function. I'll go with integer main, a pair of parentheses. Are you Indian? You speak really well. Like you speak real. Okay, you speak really, I guess, British accent. Honestly, I haven't been to India, but I'm really excited to like visit India someday. That said, I do speak like in an American accent. Okay, let's see. So it says in our main function, keep asking the user to enter a product name and price repeatedly. Okay, so I gotta keep asking the user for a name and a product. Okay, after each entry, ask, do you want to add more products? Okay, stop taking inputs when the user types n. Okay, and then calculate the total price entered. So I gotta create a few variables. Excuse me guys, so I'll go with something like a integer of price variable ending with a semicolon. Okay, so I could create a while loop, so while a pair of parentheses. Okay, let's change this to ask. There we go. Okay, ask. Honestly, okay, do you want to add another product? Yes/no. Okay, so while my ask is not equal to, let's say, n. Okay, for my ask, instead of going with integer, this is gonna be a standard string of ask. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to be adding something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna say something like, do you want to add another product? I do wanna add this like later. Okay. Hi my friend, how are you doing, KV Code Star? Appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, how do I like work this ask stuff out? So, firstly, if my ask is not equal, if my ask is not equal to k, is not equal to, actually instead of k, I'll go with something like n. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and do something. This is gonna be a lowercase ask. Okay, while it's not equal to n, that is a standard string ask. Can I like do this? Okay, while my ask is not equal to n. Having a prestige, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, am I messing up somewhere here? Standard string of ask. My ask does not have a value to it just yet. Keep asking the user to enter product name and price repeatedly. Oh, I think I should add this inside of my, while loop. Okay, so instead of going with a while ask, I'll go with something like while true loop. Okay. Hello, wait, just curious, what are you making? Honestly, I'm not like working on a specific project. That said, I am actually working on Constructor overloading the stream. That is like the complete genre of the stream that made any sense, although I am going through some different basics as well. For example, getters, setters, how to add methods, how to add functions and all that stuff. Okay, so while true, I'm going to be creating a standard console output with an insertion operator that is going to say something like enter a product name. Okay, so I'll go with something like enter a product, enter a product name. Okay, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll add a standard console input with an extraction operator. What is his accent? Where are you from, Mars? Are you from Mars? Honestly, guys, I'm not from Mars. Okay, I'm going to be creating a few variables. Let's go with something like a standard string of name. Let's go with something like product name. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Product. There we go. Okay, guys, I had a quick little typo. Okay, let's go ahead and copy my product, paste it here, ending with a semicolon, and then I'll go with something like a double variable of price, ending with a semicolon as well. I'll go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like enter a price. Okay, for, let's say, enter a price for my product name. So I'll go with for, in new line, insertion operator for my product name, with another insertion operator of a colon space, ending with a semicolon. And then let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my price variable, ending with a semicolon. That said, do I want to whatchamacallit, do I want to create a vector? I might actually create a vector for them. Okay, so since I am going to be working with vectors, it's been a while, but let's go ahead and include a pair of ankle braces. I want to include vector, guys. It's been so long since I've used vectors. Feels kind of nostalgic. Okay, for my vectors, inside of my class, instead of going with a standard string of product name, I could go with something like a standard vector. Okay, with a pair of ankle braces, my vector is going to be consisting of only standard strings. There we go. Okay, and my vector is going to be called something like product. Let's go with something like product name. There we go. And then for my prices, I'm going to be creating a vector for my prices as well. So let's go with something like a standard vector with a pair of ankle braces. This vector is only going to be consisting of doubles. Okay, this vector is going to be called prices, ending with a semicolon. Okay, and now let's go ahead and create a few variables. So maybe I'll add a bunch of spaces. There we go. The first variable is going to be a standard string of something like name, ending a semicolon. The second variable is going to be a double of price, ending with a semicolon as well. I want to get the value of my name, and then I want to get the value of my price. Once I do get the value of my name, I want to do something. Enter a price for an insertion operator. Did I mess something up here? What happens if I cancel that part? Oh, that is product name, no wonder. There we go. Let's go ahead and change that to be name. Okay. Enter a product for a name. So once I get my name, I'm going to do something like my product's name. My product names is vector dot the push underscore back function. Basically what the push underscore back function does, it adds an element to the last index of my vector, because like I did have like a separate stream on like working with vectors as well. If you guys don't know how it works, I think I had like 3 or 4 streams on that. Okay, this is going to be having a parameter of my name ending with a semicolon, and then let's go with something like my prices is vector dot the push underscore back function as well. I want to push back my price ending with a semicolon. So my vectors have containers, actually has values now. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's see next up what to do. So keep asking the user to enter a product and a price repeatedly after each entry. Ask, do you want to add another product after each entry? So after a whole iteration here, I'm going to be adding another standard console output. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is going to say something like, okay, ask the user, do you want to add another product? So I'll go with something like, do you want to add another product? Question mark. I think this should be lowercase. Okay, do you want to add another product? Question mark. Honestly, I might go with something like y/n. So like yes and no. So y/n. There we go. In case you guys couldn't see, I'll just zoom out a bit. There we go. So do you want to add a product? Yes or no? Now we add, let's go with something like a standard console input with an extraction operator. I'll honestly go ahead and create a character, a char of maybe exit, exit. What should this be called? Ask, ending with a semicolon. Okay, this is going to be my ask parameter, ending with a semicolon as well. Okay, while not standard console input with an extraction operator q, standard console input clear the standard console input dot ignore. Honestly, I haven't like learned of those whatchamacallit functional keywords, because like numeric underscore limits. Okay, try again. That will validate the inputs variables. Honestly, I haven't like learned about that. That's it. That does sound pretty this thing cool. I should actually try that. Okay, stop asking the user equals to n. So after I do this, I'm going to be adding a if statement. So let's go with something like if a pair of parentheses. Let's say if my ask variable is equal to n, I'm going to do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then break. Okay, honestly, before I break, I might go with something like my sums. So Let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. Console output with an insertion operator. I'm going to say something like, thank you for shopping. Thank you for shopping. Exclamation with a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. That said, before I even break everything, let me just go ahead and break here real quick. Okay, although I do gotta add like multiple more things. Let's see. For example, I gotta add a total variable. So let's go ahead and create a double of total variable ending with a semicolon. Honestly, it should be equal to 0. So I'll set that equal to 0 by default. I'll set that equal to 0. And then inside of my if statement, if my n equals to 0, I'm going to do something. Let's go ahead and iterate over my, my prices as vector. So I could go with something like for a pair of parentheses, let's say something like for every integer of I, which equals to 0, okay? And then I'm going to do something. While my I is less than 0, should I go with greater than while my I is... Honestly, greater than. Okay, while my I is greater than 0, I'm going to increment my I by 1. Wait, hold up. Should it be less than? Because this increases by 1. If it's more than 0, it's going to continuously increase. Okay, I think this is correct. And then I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then hydrate my lips up. Okay, I think my lips is kind of dehydrated. Okay, that's it. I honestly might drink some water as well because I am kind of dehydrated. Should maybe have like a reminder of drinking water. Okay, that said, I go with something like for the integer of I which equals to 0 while my I is greater than 0, I increment it by 1. Okay, next up, I want to do some math. So I'll go with something like my total variable is going to increase by, let's say, my prices is vector. My prices is vector at index of I, okay, ending with a semicolon. And then I want to add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like your total is... Okay, let's go with something like your total is a new line with another insertion operator. I'll go with a $sign. Maybe a comment that says something like a $sign. I could have that like here. There we go. Okay, my total is my total variable with another insertion operator of a forward slash new line ending with a semicolon. Okay, so my total is total. I actually added an ampersand instead of like a $sign. There we go. Okay, perfect. And when I ask for a price entry, price for the name, I honestly might add a $sign here as well for like it to just look good. Okay, perfect. So your total is these things, and then items purchased. I actually might add the items purchased like somewhere. Okay, that's my total. Should I go with a nested for loop? One for my items. Okay, let's go with a nested for loop. I'll go with for a pair of parentheses. Let's say for every integer of j which equals to 0. Okay, while my j is greater than 0, I'm going to increment my j by 1. So I'll go with j++. And then add a pair of curly braces. Inside of my nested for loop, I'm going to do something like... Okay, I'll go with something like my prices at index of I. Do I want to go with that? How old are you, dude? Honestly, I am 17 years old. That's it. I am going to turn 18 real soon, guys. I'm kind of excited. My birthday is on January 5th. I honestly don't have like a streaming idea for that. Like, I don't know if it's going to be like a special stream. Maybe a normal stream, like a normal day, guys. Okay, so I might add a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like items bot. There we go. Okay, and then I'll go let's say in a new line add another insertion operator of my product name sysvector at index of I with another insertion operator of a empty space. There we go. That should look much better. Okay, and then once that's over, I'll end that with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Hey Dumbo, you remember me? Honestly, hiding logic, I appreciate you joining the stream. Okay, honestly guys, I do feel like I get like so many same names, although I do remember you guys, I just forget these names. So I'll go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line, ending with a semicolon. Duh. Okay, I think this looks pretty much correct, right? Guys, actually I think this looks correct. Okay, this works. Okay, next up I go with total. I display my total. So first I display the items bought, then I go with my totals. And once that loop ends, I say thank you for shopping, have a nice one. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. Calculate the total price of all products entered. Did that display all products and their total prices at the end? Extra. Optional but recommended for chaining practice. Make product support method. Okay, make product or products as class supports method. Chaining if you want to modify price or name before adding it to the cart. Okay, so what happens? Okay, lastly, let's go ahead and return 0. Very impressive work. I appreciate your logic. Bro's coding to scam better. Guys, honestly, I don't scam. That said, I'm going to return 0 ending with a semicolon. If I did Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay. Enter a product name. I want to buy something like, I don't know, maybe apples. There we go. Keep up the hard work. I appreciate you, Byron. That means the word to me. Enter a price for your apples. Let's say the apples are something like $2.99. Okay, and then do you want to add another item? I want to go with something like Y. Enter a product name. My product is going to be something like oranges. Let's say my oranges is something like $1.99. And then do you want to add another item? I want to add something. Let's go with something like water. Water is something like 0.99. Do you want... Oh, let's go with a Y and add water again. There we go. Water is going to be 99 cents. Okay, do you want another item? I don't want to add any more items. Thank you for shopping. Hold up, guys. Did I mess something up? Hey, Dimbo, which class are you in? Honestly, I did join college. I'm like a freshman in college. That said... Okay, should I add my for loop outside? Okay, so... Excuse me, guys. If ask equals to n, I do all this. Why did it like print it? It just printed that. Maybe, let's see. Maybe my ask variable should go outside. Okay, let's get it somewhere here. Honestly, it was outside my while loop. Okay, it's inside my while loop. Let's go ahead and remove that. Paste that here. Okay, perfect. So I have a character of ask. Okay, right there. Now, let's go ahead and copy that. Okay, delete it from here. Okay, so I have a standard console output of breaks. I honestly, let's see. If ask equals to n, I might actually add my, this again. Just delete this part. There we go. Okay, so if my ask equals to n, I'm going to break. Let's just break. Okay, let me go ahead and hit break, ending with a semicolon. And then remove that. Okay, why is that? Did I like remove a pair of curly braces? So I added one there, which ends here. Is this like still a loop? Return 0. Okay, wait, let's go with a pair of curly braces. Okay, there. Let's be really careful when removing stuff. So my while loop ends. What is this for? Okay, this is for my if statement. I'm gonna go ahead and remove my entire if statement. Okay, and then add a if statement here. So if a pair of parentheses, your loop is incorrect. Honestly, it's because I is 0 and never greater. Oh, hold up, wait. Let me go with a bunch of control Z's. Wait, because I equals to 0. Okay. While my I is less than 0, wait, I do increment my I less than or equal to 0. Okay, I equals to 0. While my I is, should I go with greater than 0? Because I do increment it by 1. Huh. Okay, let's see. Are you first year in college? Honestly, I am like a freshman. Okay, that said, while my I is greater than 0, wait, hold up. Should I go with like for every integer of I which equals to 0 while my I is, I'm pretty sure it should be greater than 0 while my I is more than 0. Okay, it doesn't increment by 1 because my I isn't more than 0. Oh wait, never mind guys, I think it is more than 0 because this is for like indexes. You should compare it with total in your vector. Honestly, let me just go with a bunch of Control-Shift-Z's real quick. Let's go with Control-Shift-Z. Okay, maybe let's go ahead and copy my entire if statement. Okay, and then delete my for loop from here. Okay, and then check something like break. Okay, let's go ahead and break there. Then outside my while loop, let's go ahead and paste my if statement. Okay, so this is outside my for loop. I might go with something like shift tab to de-indent. Okay, that's my if statement. I might de-indent again. Okay, shift tab. There. Okay, now I'm going to remove my break. I have something like if ask equals to n. Okay, let's go ahead and get my vectors outside my while loop. So I copy that, delete it, get my vectors right here. Maybe I get it like right here. Okay, whoops. Okay, let's go ahead and paste my vector here. Maybe de-indent my vectors. Control C. There we go. Okay, so I did get my vector outside. I have a ask to check if my loop ends or not. Okay, if ask equals to n, I break, and then if ask equals to n, Okay, let's go ahead and get my total outside as well. So I'm gonna copy that, get my total variable outside my while loop as well. There we go. Why are you comparing with 0 in for that loop? It makes no sense at all. Why are you comparing with 0 in for that loop? Honestly, because I do want to work with indexes because like these are for my indexes. So if it's index 0, that's the first element of my vector. If that made any sense, guys. Okay, so for every integer of I which equals to 0 while my I is greater than 0, what do you think was better for you in what do you think was better for you in learning, Python or C, and which was more helpful to solve problems? Honestly, I'd say like the two languages are like well good in their own stuff. Although I would like recommend starting off with Python because it is pretty easy. But if you are like an absolute beginner, then I'd say like if you start with Python, it still does push you to like extend your willpower / your interior mid singular cortex. So once it expands, you feel a little it's not too hard for you to learn if you're a beginner. Neither it's too easy. It is like in the sweet spot or like the zone. And then once you're actually pretty good with Python and you do understand the programming basics, I would recommend to move on to a different language, which is a bit more complex. So personally, in my opinion, I feel like Python was the best choice starting off, but now I think C++ is still like giving me some like it's making me think a bit more than Python, although it's not like too hard, if that made any sense, guys. I'm real bad with phrasing. Okay, yeah, it should be compared with the total in your items. It should be compared with total in my items. Oh, okay. Hold up. For every integer of I which equals to 0, while my I is greater than oh, I see. Okay. While my I is greater than, let's say my vector of product name, okay, is greater than my product dot size. There we go. Okay, so while my I is more than my product dot size, should I go with less than? I think, okay, I is set to 0. Why I is less than my product dot size? Because my product does have more than 0 elements in it. It increases by 1. So I equals to 0 while my I is less than my product dot size. 0 is less than my product if I have more product. Okay, that does make sense, guys. Okay, hold up, guys. Actually, that was kind of stupid of me not to think, but I do appreciate you, Lawrence, for like catching that out. Okay, next up, let's go with something like prices.size with the parentheses. Okay, now while my prices is while my j is less than my prices.size as well, I incremented by 1, and then standard console output with that insertion operator, items.bot. This is going to be my product name at index of I. My product is going to be displayed, and then total increases by my product at index of I. Okay. for every integer of I which equals to 0 mi is less than product dot size. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. There we go. Wait, increase I by 1. Shouldn't I go with like J? Honestly, I think, wait, hold up, that might make sense because like I do want to link my products names, my product name vectors as elements with my prices as vectors. So like product at index 0 equals prices at index 0. Okay, honestly, I'll try both actually. Let me try this real quick though. Oh wait, never mind. Hold up, guys, hold up. I think I understand. Prices at index of I. So I increases by 1. Hold up. So I go with prices at index of I. Okay. Okay, I think this is correct. Yeah, you increment. I would also not nest this two for loops. Yeah, for you increment. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, and then I go with thank you for shopping. If audit control us to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Okay, so it's gonna say something like enter a product name. I'll go with something like apples. Apple cost $1.99, and then I want to shop again. Enter a product. I want to go with oranges. Oranges cost $3.99. I want to shop again, yes, and then I want to go with something like water. Enter a price for your water. I'll go with something like $0.99. I don't want to shop anymore. Is it like a infinite loop? Okay, which language is this? Honestly, it is C++. Okay, that's it. Let's change this to be J again. Total plus equals to prices at index of I. Okay, honestly, I might not need my second for loop in that case. Let's go ahead and remove this and try. Okay, I just need one for loop there. I copy this part, delete that. Paste it right here, de-indent that, and then indent this. Tap to indent. There we go. Okay, so that is like items bought. These are my items that I bought. Total prices, those are my total prices. Okay, and then I go with something like a standard console output outside of my if statement. Wait, did I like, hold up, let me go with a Control Shift C. Let's copy that part. And then go with a bunch of Control C's because I might have like removed stuff. Okay, let's see. Let's go with another Control Z. Okay, there. Now, when I remove my for loop from here, let's go ahead and remove every single thing. There we go. Okay, perfect. And then instead of going with that, I paste this. And then hit Shift Tab to de-indent. Okay, perfect. You should try Java as well. Honestly, I'm really excited to try Java soon. Okay, shouldn't you print product.getName instead of product name? Oh, I actually forgot about that. I should actually wait, never mind. I do have getters, although my product.name is my vector here. So like I did create a vector of product name. I could change that to something like names as for it to be plural. There we go. Okay, you should try Java as well. Honestly, I'm pretty excited to try Java someday. Okay, might try after my programming for 258 series. Okay, that's it. Let's go with the controllers to save the code and run the command. This time it should work, honestly. Okay, entry product name. I want to go with apples. Apples cost $3.99, and then entry product name. I want to go with. I want to shop again. Oranges cost $1.99. I want to shop again. Lastly, let's go with water. Water costs $0.99. Okay, now I don't want to shop anymore. Items you bought, apples, your total $3.99. Okay, honestly, when I add this, I don't want to add a new line. Let's go ahead and remove the new line. Okay, I want them to be separated by this. And then my total, let's go with the controllers real quick and run the command. Okay, I don't want a space, so this should print it now without a space. Let's go with something like apples, $1.99, and then apples $1.99. Hold up. Okay, wait, let's delete that. Okay, this is going to be something like apples, and then I'll hit enter, go with $1.99, and then I want to shop again. I'll go with something like oranges. Oranges is going to be something like $3.99. I want to shop again. Lastly, water is going to be 0.99. I don't want to shop again. Okay, items you bought, your total is 199, 599, 699. Thank you for shopping. Okay, let's see. What happens is like I get it each iteration. So, honestly, I might go with something like that is a space. So once this loop ends, I have another iteration of this loop. Okay, should I like create something like a index variable? I might actually do that. Let's go ahead and create a integer of index variable which is equal to 0, and then I'll go all the way down, go ahead and copy that, delete everything, set my index variable to be equal to my I, ending with a semicolon. There we go. Okay, now outside of my for loop, I'm going to be pasting all this, and instead of going with I, I'll go with something like my index. Copy my index, paste it here. There we go. Now if I hit Control S, would it make a difference? Let's see. Okay, okay, so I want to go with something like apples cost $1.99, maybe a hamburger. Okay, let's go with a hamburger cost something like $2.75. Let's go with water as well. So I want to shop one last time and go ahead and get water. Water costs $0.99. Okay, I don't want to shop anymore. Okay, so the items you bought is water for $0.99. Okay, so this gives me the final index. Okay, let's go with a bunch of Control Z's real quick. There. Okay, I might actually have Sensei slash ChatGPT. What's wrong here? So let's go ahead and copy that. And guys, I honestly want to use the restroom real quick. So like, honestly, give me like, whatchamacallit, 1-ish minutes. I'm going to use the restroom real quick and I'll be right back. Okay, it's not muted. There we go. Already mic testing, mic testing. Let me go to my gameplay screen. Okay, perfect. There we go. Alright guys, I hope I didn't take more than a minute. That said, what was I gonna do? I forgot. I was gonna ask this to ChatGPT. Okay, so let's go ahead and paste this, go with Shift Enter and say something like, so let's say, I feel like I did almost everything correct. I feel like I did almost. There we go. This is gonna be like, guys, I should work on my typos. I feel like I did almost everything correct, although just the last part seems wrong. Okay, question mark. Let's see. Okay, just stop abusing, bro. Just stop abusing, honestly. Okay, let's see. People, you're really close, but you're messing up the total display loop. Right now, you're adding the price and printing the total inside the loop for every item. That's why the total keeps increasing line by line. It's technically correct arithmetic-wise, but it's not how receipts should look. Okay, you should print all the items first, then print the total. Also, I noticed your display method in products is misspelled. That could bite you if you ever try to use it. Here's what your loop should look like for every I. which equals to 0 when my I is less than 0. I increment my I by 1. Okay, I go with a standard console output with an insertion operator. Item price total plus equals to. Then after my loop, so after loop, print the total. Your total is total. Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, let's see. Let's get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. Okay, next up. Honestly, I see where I messed up. So since my total variable is outside my for loop, I might not need to add it here. So my total increases by my price here. That is going to be my price. Let's go ahead and copy my total. Okay, delete that from there. Go outside of my while loop. Okay, right here. Honestly, let's get thank you for shopping outside as well. Let me just go ahead and paste it right here. There we go. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy thank you for shopping and get that outside my while loop as well. Paste it right here. Okay, honestly, before the thank you for shopping, I will add a standard console output again with an insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, let's see. Alright, perfect. So I added that. I increased my total here. Item bought. There we go. Okay, so let's go with a control S to save the code and run the command. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's see. Enter a product name. I want to go with something like Apple. I think total should be printed outside the loop. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, so I'll go with something like apples. Okay, and then enter a price for my apples. The price is $1.99. Do you want to shop again? Yes. The next item is going to be something like hot dogs. Okay, hot dogs is going to be something like $1.75. I want to shop again. Maybe this time I'll not go with water. Instead, I'll go with something like a soda. Soda is going to be something like $3.99. And I don't want to shop anymore. Okay, so enter a product name, soda. Do you want to shop again? No. Items bought, apples, hot dogs, items bought, sodas. Your total is $7.73. Thank you for shopping. Okay, I might have to do a few more tweaks. Instead of going with something like items bought here, I could go with something like well, maybe I could go ahead and add something like items bought, and that with a semicolon, and then add a standard console output here with an insertion operator. These are going to be my items, separated with a space. Okay, and then after my console input here, I'll add a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line ending with a semicolon. Okay, bro, try to print the total outside the loop. Honestly, the total is outside the loop, like right here. There we go. Okay, next up, let's see something like your total is. Okay, before I go ahead and print my total, I am going to be adding something like a standard console output with an insertion operator of a standard end line here. There we go. Okay, so that is my for loop. That is my if statement. And then my for loop. Maybe I indent it here. There we go. Okay, that looks much better, honestly. Items bought. These are going to be my items bought. Although that goes with every iteration. Let's go ahead and copy that. And then maybe paste it here. Okay, there. Okay, now if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Oh, yes, I already see that. That's already perfect because I feel like I like squish everything up here. Okay, this time let's go with something like popcorn. Popcorn is going to be something like $6.99. And then something like I want to shop again. Maybe something like, I don't know. Pretzels. Is that how you spell pretzels? Pretzels is going to be $1.99 and then something like shop again. Let's go with something healthy as well. I'll go with apple. Apple is going to be something like $1.99. Do you want to add another product? I'll go with no. Okay, items bought, popcorn, pretzels, and apple. Your total is $10.99. Okay, perfect. Instead of going with a comma here, I'll just go with an empty space because I don't want to leave a comma here. There we go. Okay, so let's go with the controller. Control C, copy that, get Sensei slash ChatGPT here. Okay, next up, let's get Sensei here. Go ahead and paste this and hit enter. Maybe even hydrate my lips. I'm kind of dehydrated. Use using namespace std. Honestly, the reason I don't use using namespace std is because many of you guys did say me, what you call it, in bigger projects, if we don't prefix with standard, that could cause like name conflicts because like other libraries might have console output as well. That said, let me go ahead and hydrate my lips real quick. It's kind of dehydrated. Okay, people, much better. You fix the total display problem. Total is now printed once at the end and items are listed first. That's exactly what I want to see. A few tiny things before we polish it to perfection. Your product class has a display typo. Okay, it should be display. Otherwise, if you want to use objects properly later, it will give you errors. Right now, you're still not using the product class fully. You're storing names and prices in two separate vectors instead of making a vector of products. Okay, objects. Oh, okay, product objects will make your code cleaner and friendly. So we go with a standard console output. Oh, product is a data type as well. Our class is considered to be a data type as well. Okay, bro, stop doing gay shit. Honestly, guys, like, I get that actually very in the stream, but guys, I'm actually not gay. That said, I go with while true, standard console output name. This is double of my price. Standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my name and price. Carts.pushback. I want to push back something inside of my products as class. Name and price. I see. Later, you go with something like for auto, item, cart. Oh, I see. Okay, let me say something like, since say I've honestly worked with the auto keyword just once. That said, I didn't want to use it this stream. I was saving it for another stream. That said, this stream I just wanted to work with let's say something like constructor overloading. Okay, oh guys, I didn't want to write the whole thing in caps. Okay, my bad guys. Okay, let's see. Okay, good. I see exactly where you're coming from, people. We stay focused on constructor overloading today. No sneaking auto shortcuts or other stuff. That's discipline and I like it. Your current code already demonstrates constructors overloading perfectly in the sense that you can have multiple ways to initialize a product default product. Okay, so product default products as constructor has two parameters. Duh. Okay, next step for mastery, I can give you a small new question using constructor overloading. That's not RPG or shopping, just practice overloading alone. Maybe 2 to 3 constructors and some change methods. Guys, my neck actually hurts for some reason. Bye bro, got some work to do. Bye. By the way, you gained a sub. I appreciate you, Kanush. I'll see you in the next stream. Okay, that said, guys, let me drink some water. Okay, I think I'm not used to like talking for 3 hours straight. That said, let me drink some water. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's say something like, okay, so let's say exclamation. That said, my RPG questions, this fatigue has worn off, so I'm fine with RPG style as well. ... Okay, guys, I'm honestly fine with RPG style as well. That said, perfect people, let's channel that focus into a new challenge. Instructional question: create a book class that uses constructor overloading and includes the following 3 constructors: a default constructor that sets the title to unknown and pages to 0, a constructor with just the title, a constructor with both title and pages, a methods. Okay, and then now for methods, I gotta create a display method that prints the title and number of pages, a add pages as method with a parameter of amount, which is an integer that increases the number of pages and returns this for chaining. And then lastly, inside of my main function, I gotta ask the user for a book title and a number of pages. Okay, create 3 book objects using all 3 constructors, chain and page. Call on 1 book, display all 3 books. This will make you practice constructor overloading. This pointers for chaining getters/setters if you want, and also methods. Okay, let's get sensei/ChatGPT here. Okay, right there. Okay, that said, let's go with a control A and delete everything. Let me start off by including a pair of ankle braces. I want to include IO stream. The next up, let's see. Okay, I gotta create a class called book. So let's go ahead and create a book class. Add a pair of curly braces. Inside of my book class, let's see, that uses constructor overloading and includes the following. Okay, so I gotta create, let's see, that includes the following: 3 constructors, default unknown, pages to be 0. Don't I need any data members? Okay, honestly, I don't think I need data members in that case. Okay, so default constructor sets the title to unknown. Okay, so title might be a data member. And then pages, so I might need 2 private data members. Okay, so I'll go with private. Okay, next up. So firstly, I'm going to go with something like a title. So let's go with something like a standard string of title. Okay, which is going to end with a semicolon. And next up, pages. I'll go with something like integer of pages ending with a semicolon as well. Okay. Okay, next up, for my constructor, I'm going to be publicizing everything from here on out. So I'll go with public. Okay, maybe I'll add a comment that says constructors. There we go. For my constructors, I gotta create a default constructor that sets the title to be unknown and the pages to be 0. So, I don't know, maybe I'll go with something like, okay, that sets the title. So I'll go with my book class, add a pair of parentheses. Okay, that sets the title to be unknown and pages to be 0. So I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then do something. Let's say I want to set my title, so I'll go with something like this, a arrow mark operator. My titles is data member equals to my title data member equals to my title parameter. Honestly, I don't think I have, like, I need to add 2 parameters here. Oh, never mind guys, my bad. This should be unknown. There we go. Okay, let's go ahead and change this to unknown, because these are going to be the default ones. You should probably use unsigned integer. Cannot have less than 0 pages. You should probably use unsigned integer. Honestly, yeah, I actually can do that, like, for my pages section. Okay, I might actually do it here. Let's see. Okay, actually, I might do that in my setters. So, like, when I'm setting my pages. Okay, let's go with something like this. This pages is data member equals to 0, ending with a semicolon. Next up, I gotta create another constructor with just the titles. So I gotta ask the user for only my titles. So I'll go with my book class, add a pair of parentheses. My book class only takes a parameter, which is going to be a standard string of, let's say, title. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces and then do something. Okay, so I'll go with something like this, a arrow mark operator. This title data member equals to my title parameter ending with a semicolon. Then okay, which just takes the title. Okay, so it does not take anything else. Okay, I could go with something like this pages is data member equals to something like maybe 0, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, constructor with both title and pages. Okay, so my last constructor, so I'll go with something like my book class with a pair of parentheses. That takes 2 variables or 2 parameters or 2 arguments, title and integer of pages. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces and do something like this. Title parameter is going to be equal to, this title data member is going to be equal to my title parameter. And then I'll do something like this pages. This pages is data member equals to my pages is parameter ending with a semicolon as well. Fix my typo. Okay, perfect. Next up, I gotta create methods now. Honestly, before my methods, I might create getters and setters. So let's go ahead and create my setters first. For my setters, I'm going to be creating a void of set title. Okay, set title, I'll add a pair of parentheses and then a pair of curly braces. So my titles is data member. Let's go with something like this. Let's say something like this titles. This titles is data member equals to my titles is parameter. I'll be adding a standard string parameter here of title. There we go. Okay, ending with a semicolon. And then now let's go with my pages. So I'll go with something like a void set pages. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of parentheses. My set pages will have a parameter of integer of something like page. Okay, and then I'll go with a pair of curly braces. Now I'll add a if statement. If a pair of parentheses if my page is greater than or equal to 0, because my pages can be less than 0. Okay, I'm gonna do something. I'll go with a pair of curly braces and set something like this pages says data member equals to my page parameter ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. Next up, I gotta create getters as well. So let's go with a comment that says getters. Okay, for my getters, I'm gonna do something. Let's see. How do you, Helunas, how do we pronounce the name as, Hulonki? Is that how you pronounce your name? Although I do appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, next up I'll go with something like, let's say, a integer of gets title. Okay, so a getter of integer with a pair of curly braces that returns my title data member ending with a semicolon. Did I spell it correct? Okay, get title. Okay, that is my titles as data member. Honestly, I'm like pretty sure I should like return my title. Or should I return this? I returned this for like chaining. I don't think I'm going to chain anything here though. Okay, let's see. My titles is data member, T-I-T-L-E. I'm pretty sure I spelled it correct, so let's think again. For my getters, I go with get title. I won't have a parameter here, but I return my title. Okay, what do I return? I'm pretty sure I should return my title, guys. I'm actually 100% sure. I don't know where did I mess up here. Did I like mess up somewhere? Okay, let's see. For my void setters, this title equals to my title parameter. This pages equals to my page parameter. I'm talking about these data members here. Title is, oh, okay, no wonder, guys. I actually forgot. I appreciate you, but okay, guys, I keep making this mistake, honestly. This is gonna be a standard string. There we go. Okay, now it should work. Okay, perfect. You have to return the type as you have the return type as an integer. Honestly, yeah, that does make sense. Okay, I did make that mistake so many times last stream as well, and the stream where I was learning about getters and setters. I should work on like paying more attention. Okay, that's it. Next up, I'll go with something like integer of pages. Okay, with the pair of curly braces that returns my pages' data member ending with a semicolon. Okay, now that I'm done with my getters and setters, I gotta create methods. So let's go ahead and create a few methods. These are gonna be methods. There we go. Okay, for my methods, THODS. Okay, I'm going to be creating a display method that prints the number of pages. So let's go ahead and create a display method. My display method will be something like void display, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Okay, that prints the title and the number of pages. So let's go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator that says something like title. This is going to be my title. Okay, there we go. Okay, with another insertion operator of my title data member, I might go with something like get title data member. Actually, get title getter. Okay, and then I'll add another insertion operator of a / new line ending with a semicolon. That said, let's go ahead and print my pages. So I'll go with a standard console output with an insertion operator that is going to say something like page number. Okay, with another insertion operator, this is going to be my get pages as data member. Honestly, I might change this to be something like get pages because it is a getter. Okay, so I'll go with something like get pages. There we go. Okay, I'll add a pair of curly braces. Actually, I'll add a pair of parentheses to invoke that. And then I'll go with another insertion operator. This is going to be something like a / new line ending with a semicolon. You forgot to name the getter get pages lol. Guys, actually, I need to pay more attention on that. Okay, let's see. And then I got to create a add pages as well. Use this for chaining. So, okay, this is pretty much it for my display method. That said, let's go ahead and create a void add pages as method. So I'll go with add pages, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces for my add pages as method. Okay, that increases the pages. Okay, that increases the number of pages and returns the dereferencing operator of this for chaining. Okay, so this will be having a parameter of amount on how many pages do I want to actually change. Okay, so I'm going to go with something like let's say first my setter of, let's say something like set pages. Okay, and inside my set pages, I'm going to get my pages. The reason I did add set pages first is because I do want to cap my pages at 10. Okay, I'll go with something like get pages minus equals to. Let's actually, it increases by my amount. I'm going to increase it by my amount, ending with a semicolon. There. Get pages. Okay, should I just go with a plus? Get pages plus amount. There we go. Okay, and then I'm going to end that with a semicolon. So basically why I did set pages here is because my set pages only returns my pages if my pages is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, that said, in my void method I have add pages. Okay, let's read the next thing. So I increase the amount of pages and then I return this. So since I am going to be returning this with a dereferencing operator, I cannot go with a void function. I have to go with my class's data type. So my class is a book. So let's go with something like book. Drink water, bro. Honestly, guys, I actually forgot to drink water. I'm glad that you guys remind me. Like, I was actually wondering, I'm like so dehydrated. Hi man, how to program? Honestly, I'd say that the best way to actually be good at programming is to like program every single day and like be consistent with it. Like the more practice we get is better, guys. Like apparently the more practice I get, whatchamacallit, I feel like it's kind of less and I do need more practice. That said, once my college is over, I might have more time to practice. Okay, that said, I go with set pages, and then I want to return something. Let's go ahead and return a dereferencing operator of this, ending with a semicolon. Okay. And then let's see, this helps me chain. So maybe I add a comment that says for chaining. Okay, that is for chaining. Okay, perfect. Next up, I gotta display all 3 books. So inside of my main function, I gotta ask the user for a book title and number of pages. Let me go ahead and end my class with a semicolon. And then go ahead and create a main function. So I'll go with integer main, add a pair of parentheses, and then a pair of curly braces. Inside of my main function, I want to do something. Let's say, let's see, ask the user for a book title and number of pages. So I could go ahead and create a standard string of something like book title, okay, ending with a semicolon, and then a integer variable for number of pages, ending with a semicolon as well. Guys, I feel like my stream is lagging. Let me just restart the stream real quick. Already mic testing. Okay, I think that should fix the lag. I'm bigger. What should I do? Bigger in terms of age? Honestly, I'd say like age wouldn't matter that much unless you actually have a lot of stuff to do, like job and everything. That's when like you could like spend your whenever you're free or something, you could like spend like programming a bit. That said, how do you remember so many functions? Honestly, I'd say it's just practice. Like the more practice we get, the better we get. Because I like, if you guys watched the first ever stream inside of my C++ playlist, I was actually a complete, like I was actually kind of bad with it. You guys did help me a lot in the chat. Okay, why are gonna return something in add method? Add method don't return anything. By add method, do you mean like add pages? Honestly, the reason I returned this is like it's not important to return this. Basically, what return this does is it helps me chain. For example, if I didn't have a return this and this would be a void method, I would have to type something like, for example, my object one dot. Maybe I'll add this in a comment. Maybe I'll have to do something like object one dot add pages. Okay, add a pair of parentheses. So I had to do that, and if I wanted to add another page, I would go to a new line, and then whatchamacallit, do something like object one dot add pages again. Although if I like whatchamacallit, if I add this, if I like return this, then instead of going in a new line, I could just go with add pages again like this. This is like basically called chaining, and if I had some other method, I could do something like dot sleep. I don't know, maybe sleep is a function. There we go. I could like stack my functions like this instead of going in a new line and adding a new function. Okay, so that's basically what the return this does. It's not that important, but it does make your code look a little more cleaner. Okay, next up. Oh, nice fluent way then. Yeah, I see. Okay, bro, please stop acting so zesty. Please, bro, stop talking so much. Honestly, guys, I don't act zesty. I do get that every stream, though. Okay, that said, next up, I gotta create 3 book objects using all 3 constructors. So, ask the user for a book title and number of pages. I could go with something like a standard console output with an insertion operator. This is gonna say something like enter a book title, okay, ending with a semicolon, and then a standard console input with an extraction operator. I want to extract my book title variable, ending with a semicolon. After I ask my book title, I want to go with another standard console output with an insertion operator. Bro, just stop talking so much, okay? Honestly, the reason I do talk is because it does help me learn when I like teach you guys. I think in general, it helps me learn better if I can teach you guys. Okay, that said, I'm gonna be adding another standard console output that's saying something like, what page do you want to read, question mark. Okay, what page do I want to read, ending with a semicolon. That said, let's go ahead and add a standard console input with an extraction operator. This is gonna be my number of pages, ending with a semicolon. He's communicating on his code. I think it's chill, I'm sure. I'm sure talking out loud helps him learn too. Honestly, that does make sense because like it's repetition. If sometimes I don't remember a function or something, my muscle memory does like speak that function out. If that made any sense, guys, I don't think that did. Okay, that said, create 3 book objects using all 3 constructors. Okay, so I gotta create objects now. So I gotta create a book object. This is gonna be called book1, add a pair of parentheses. Honestly, I won't be adding any parameters here because I'm gonna be using my default constructor. Okay, that sets my title to be unknown and page to be 0. Okay, so I gotta create 3 different book objects. Okay, so let's go with something like, from my book class, I want to go with something like book2, add a pair of parentheses. Let's see what parameters does my second constructor take. So these are my constructors. My second constructor only needs a title. So I'll go with something like title. Honestly, this is gonna be my book title variable. So I'll go with book title, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, I'll go with another object from my book class. This is going to be book3. Okay, add a pair of parentheses. This time I'm going to be needing a book title and a book object of my user. So this is going to be my book title variable. Okay, okay, let's go with something like book title variable and my number of pages variable, ending with a semicolon. Okay, perfect. With that said, I got a chain and add pages colon 1 book. Okay, so chain and page. Okay, chain and pages is method. Call on 1 book. Display all 3 books. Okay, so I got a chain a method as well. So maybe I could go with something like my book2. So I'll go with something like book2. Okay, dot the add pages. And guys, this is what I meant by chaining. So like you can go with add pages here. Okay, I'm gonna add like 10 pages, maybe 5 pages. And then I'll go with something like dot add pages again. This is going to be something like 2 pages dot add pages again. I can like add multiple of methods and like multiple pages, like if that made any sense. Although if I did have this return here, if I didn't have this return with a dereferencing operator of this, I would have to go in a separate line and always add a page. For example, book2 dot add page 5, and then maybe ending with a semicolon. Book2 dot add page again. This is going to be something like 5 again, ending with a semicolon. Have you learned about polymorphism yet? Honestly, I didn't learn about polymorphism in like Python. That's it. I didn't start learning polymorphism in like C++. I do have it in my roadmap though. I'm actually going to start learning that pretty soon. Okay, that said, I chained everything and then display all 3 books. So I could go with something like book1 dot the display method, okay, ending with a semicolon. And then I want to do something like book2, okay, dot the display method, ending with a semicolon as well. Lastly, book3 dot the display method, ending with a semicolon. Lastly, let's go ahead and return 0, ending with a semicolon. Okay, bro, honestly, stop using honestly. Honestly, that does make sense. I should like stop saying, like, guys, I actually feel like I say one word again and again. That said, if I hit Control S to save the code and run the command, let's see what happens. Also curious to learn how old are you? Honestly, I am 17 years old. That said, I'm gonna turn 18 like real soon. Kinda excited, guys. My birthday is on January 5th. That said, I don't think like I have a special streaming idea for that. Okay, what title should I write for a book? I don't know, maybe something like... Guys, what book title should I write? I honestly don't read much books. Let's see. Maybe I'll go with something like Hearts of Fire. I don't know, guys. I just saw a random book out there. Hearts of Fire. There we go. Okay, here's the thing. This is a single, so I need a single name. Maybe I go with something like Hearts. Okay, what page do you want to read? I want to read page 30. Okay, the first book's title is unknown, page is 0. The second book's title is hearts, page is 5. The third book's title is hearts, page is 30. Okay, perfect. Hey, nice, great to see you're coding already. I'm a comp sci graduate myself. I'm a computer science graduate myself. That actually sounds pretty fun and cool also. Okay, that's it. Let's get Sensei slash chat GPT here. Let's go ahead and paste this, hit enter. Maybe hydrate my lips too. What do you think is the best approach for learning C++? Honestly, I'd say like many of you guys do recommend me to recommended me to start learning using by making projects, like work on big projects, will eventually learn the basics. That said, it probably depends on like the person as well. You guys gotta see like what learning method helps you the most. For me, what helps me the most is like starting from the very beginning and then moving my way up. So I don't like completely get overwhelmed with with the challenge. Neither am I gonna do something that's so easy that I'm in my comfort zone. I keep like pushing a little upper and upper, so like I'm just in the sweet spot, not too hard, not too easy. If that made any sense. I have a book title called Fanquicks. Honestly, I've never heard of that book. That does sound pretty fancy name though. Okay, yes, people, this is looking strong. You can see you've grasped constructors overloading and this pointer chaining like a boss. One small glitch I noticed, your add pages methods returns book by value. That technically works, but for proper chaining and efficiency, it's better to return book with a reference of operator. Oh, and I honestly forgot about the reference of operator. Okay, so you're not making a copy. Everything else is perfect. You have default single parameter and a full parameter constructors. You're using getter/setters, chaining, and display. Works flawlessly. If you want, we can push this further with loops and user input for multiple book next. That'll combine everything you've learned: objects, constructors, this pointer, chains, loops, the whole beast. Do you want to level it up like that next, people? Honestly, guys, I actually think I might end this stream right now. I've been streaming for like 3 hours and like about 20 minutes. Although the reason I am ending my stream is because I do got some college work to do. That's it. Let's say something like, let's say, I feel like I honestly might end the stream right now, ... Okay, because I do have college assignments to do and a exam. Okay, that said, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers before I end the stream, question mark? Okay, let's see. From how long have you started learning this? Honestly, for like C++, I like do have playlists because I don't remember the exact days. That said, I did start like learning Python about like 130 to 140 days ago. That's it for C++. I started about a month ago, like 30 days ago. I do have like a playlist that has like all my videos because like whenever I did learn, I did stream myself because I don't have time to learn off stream. Okay, that said, listen up, viewers. Your pupil has been slaying, guys. I think I'm Sensei's pupil. That said, your pupil has been slaying. Okay, through constructors, overloading, getters and setters, and the this pointer today. They fought through confusing chain methods like a pro and then go back down from complexity. Remember, the difference between knowing and mastering is practice. Keep coding, keep pushing, and don't let fatigue stop you. The fire of learning is stronger than any exam or assignment. People, go crush your exams and homework. When you come back, we'll take this even further. Hugs and high fives for today, guys. That did not make me blush. Okay, that said, let's go to my keep learning, keep achieving, little guy. All the best. I appreciate you, Prestige. That means a word to me. Okay, let me go to my main camera. Okay, alrighty, guys. So that's basically it for the stream. That's it. I didn't want to stream for longer, although I usually stop my stream by this time because I do got college assignments and an exam to do. That said, I am actually going to get my PC real soon, and once I get the PC, I will definitely either stream myself building it or either record myself building it and then upload the video. And once I do get my PC, that is going to fix all my stream lags, so I will be starting to multi-stream again on Twitch, Kick, YouTube, maybe TikTok and Instagram as well if I'm at the follower requirement. So if you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. You guys can get access to those links by just typing exclamation and a lowercase name. For example, if you guys want to get access to my Instagram, you guys can type exclamation Instagram in chat, all lowercase. That said, also join the Discord server. Link will be in the description, and you guys can get access to the Discord server as well by typing exclamation Discord on chat. That said, I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace. Okay, that's crazy. It all looks really hard. Keep it up, gang. I appreciate you, Dark. Okay, let's end the stream.